Hello everyone, welcome to another Metalheads live stream. I haven't done one in a very freaking long time, but here I am, I'm about to do one. That music, by the way, in the intro was made by none other than Andy Gillian, the composer for Metalheads. So check out his Never After album and his newest album called Arcade Metal. So check those out. Freaking fantastic music and awesome composer, awesome friend as well. So glad to have him on Metalheads doing the soundtrack. Anyway, today we will be doing, well, tonight in my time, a animation live stream. So I'll be showing you guys a little bit of what sort of goes on behind the scenes with, animating the characters and doing stuff for, like, doing the animation specifically for different mini games. I'm out of breath already. That's really bad. That's how long it's been since I've done a live stream, guys. Basically there's a mini game that I'll be making called Metal Ball Z, as you know, obviously inspired by the great Dragon Ball Z anime. I'll be doing an animation stream on that, showing you guys a little bit about what goes on behind the scenes and how it all gets implemented. I might get it all done today. I don't know. I got a day off my day job tomorrow, so maybe I'll do some more tomorrow. We'll see what happens. I haven't done a live stream in a while, so we'll just play it by ear and just have some fun, I guess. Now, I will preface this and say that, you know, this isn't like a typical live stream where, I've got a whole bunch of people with me and we're having a whole lot of fun. It's not a party. I'm literally just going to be doing development work, and if any of you guys have got any questions in the chat, fire away. I will be watching over on that screen and that screen there, so I'll keep my eyes out, and if you guys have got any questions, just fire away, okay? So before I do get into the actual animation, I do want to quickly touch on what is going on with Metalheads. Obviously I haven't really kept you guys up to date for a while. There's a lot that's been going on in my life since the launch of Metalheads. I'm not going to get into it too much, but anyway, depression sucks, I'll just say that. But I'm much better now, and as a result, I'm focused, I'm driven, I'm back to where I used to be, which is great, but better. So I've got a lot more energy, I'm a lot happier, and I'm really excited about the future of Metalheads, so yay. But yeah, I did an update on the Steam page the other day, like not an actual game update, but just a news post. So if you guys want to check that out, head over onto the Steam page, and wishlist the game if you haven't already, download the demo if you haven't, and obviously buy the game, support the game. This is a solo developed project, so it is just me relying on my own funds. I don't have a publisher or anything like that, and I want to keep it that way. But yeah, any support's good support. So yeah, basically I am aiming to get an actual game update out by the end of the year, hopefully for Christmas for you guys. It's going to be very focused on the boss battle, and if I can get some mini games in there, that would be great. If I can get some another board game in there, that would be great. It just depends on my work hours in my day job, because this time of year, especially in retail, hours go skyrocketing, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's the plan. I want to get a big update out, and also I just want to spend more time doing live streams, starting to do the marketing thing again, get that marketing ball rolling, I guess, because I kind of dropped the ball and just left it. It shattered, and it was non-existent for a long time. So let's create a new ball, and we're gonna get that rolling again. Great analogy, right? Always involve balls. Anyway, so we're going to jump into Blender here. So I'm going to take my ugly mug off the camera. That's this one here. Not this mug, because this one is super cute, and I reckon most of you will recognize what it's from. It's a good cup of tea. Yeah, so anyway, we're going to jump over into Blender. Now, hang on, I'm relearning all my software again. I haven't streamed in a while, guys. So here we go. Yep, here we go. I'll probably take my camera away from this because I don't think you guys need to really see my face. Or I can just shrink it down. There we go. You guys don't need to see all of it. There we go. So this right here, what you see is called Blender. Blender is a free 3D modeling and animation program, as well as many other things. It is used in cinema even. It is used obviously professionally throughout the gaming industry, and is extremely powerful tool, especially given the fact that it has such a huge community support behind it. Because it is free, it's open source as well. The developer's an awesome dude. Like, well, the founder is an awesome guy. He doesn't give a damn about money. He just wants to create something amazing for everyone, which is just, I wish most companies were like that. But anyway, so this is Blender. This is what I use for 3D modeling, animation, that kind of thing, creating this little metal head here. And I'll be showing you guys how to do an animation, getting it from Blender into Unreal Engine, and then showing you how I kind of piece it all together so the character moves around kind of seamlessly and smoothly. I will likely run into issues, I will likely forget things and run into bugs and so on and so forth. Well, probably not bugs, just issues on my own brain, because I won't remember things. So yeah, so this, as I said, the animations are going to be for the Metal Ball Z minigame, which means we're going to be doing a lot of, hang on, let me get the big camera up. We're going to be doing some Kamehamehas. We're going to be doing like the whole that kind of thing, and powering up, and don't mind my stupid poses, but yeah, that's kind of what we're going to be doing. I've already done some animations like flying through the air and kind of like hovering on the spot, and I'll just show you guys that first. But we're mainly going to be doing the beam attack animations and the multiple stages of that, and then putting it all together. So back to the desktop, there we go. So what I've got here, let's just change this, 159. So what I've got here is an animation of the character just hovering. There's nothing much to it, it's just floating up and down. And this is when the character is just idling. And as you can see, it's seamless. It's very floaty. Nothing much is happening. The good thing is, if that's too slow or too fast, I can go into Unreal Engine and I can adjust the speed of it as well. So, oops, I didn't want to do that. Oh, why can't I? There we go. There's not many keyframes. That's these little dots down here. So, I'm sure there's animators out there who are watching either now or later. Hang on, my microphone is too loud. Either now or later. Sorry guys, let me just turn my microphone down. It's kind of peeking out a little bit. Sorry about that. Yeah, so yeah, there's probably animators and modelers and stuff watching, and riggers, and I'll explain what that is in a second, who are watching and just going, man, that's a waste of animation time. I tell you what, it doesn't matter. This game is not huge. It's not really going to kill the performance that much. Anyway, so what we've got here, floating animation. Yeah. Now, this, actually, I'm just trying to think how I'm going to word this. So there is a thing called rigging, right? So when you create a skeleton, which is what these little funny pyramid looking things are, these are the bones, right? And each bone I can like manipulate. So if I get in here, I can, bend the character forward and stuff like that. Now, this is a really bad rig. And what that means is that typically when somebody makes a rig, the other parts of the body will kind of like move with a bone. So if I move this, for example, a good rig would mean, that the arms might kind of like, rather than doing this, the arms might actually move back with the body, just to make it a little bit easier to animate. And because of issues like this that you'll see in a second, where you get like this weird twisting and pulling and distorting of things, it just doesn't look nice. This is just a bad rig. That's my fault. In saying that, it works fine for my purposes. I don't need to have super complicated animations, and it might take me a little bit longer, but oh well. Also, when you make a rig, generally you can have little controls like these things, for example. These control like the knee facing direction. These are supposed to control like the little bits of fat and skin on the character. So like they don't though. I've just done a really bad job of this. So this rotates, and you can kind of see it does a little bit, but I didn't set it up properly, to be honest. The same goes for this here. Like this, I don't even know what that does. It's not skinned correctly. Now, what I mean by skinned is these little things here. If we have a look at the mesh, see how it's made up of like a little grid. Imagine that there's little lines in between this grid, and that's, you know, called triangles or tris. So these little bones, they have a weight assigned to, well, so these little dots here, they're called vertices. These have a property called a weight, and that weight is how much control does a bone have over this vertex or this dot. So if I moved, you know, for example, the arm, hang on, let me just get this. So if I move the arm, it has 100% control over like all of this stuff at the end of the arm, but it doesn't have control over, you know, stuff at the elbow and that kind of thing. But you'll see that as I move that part of the arm, it's set up so that you know, the other bones move correctly, so that you know, there is an elbow joint and that kind of stuff, and they are weighted to stuff around the elbow, right? I hope that makes sense. I don't want to get into it too much, otherwise we'll be here all night. But that's effectively it. You basically take a bone and you say, hey, this knuckle controls everything from, you know, here down. But if I were to, I don't know, move the thumb, for example, my thumb, when you curl the thumb, the muscle here in the palm, that actually expands. So you've got to set up the rig or the skeleton to, you know, do that movement so that it looks natural, so that things don't like fold within themselves like it looks a bit weird. But anyway, as I said, I don't want to touch on that too much, otherwise we will be here all night. So we've got here this wonderful, trying to remember controls. I can't remember controls for some reason. We've got this wonderful little animation, and this one is the Metal Ballsy, or MBZ Hover Idle. All right. Told you, it's not the most exciting stream, but you know, I am giving you guys an insight and trying to keep it as educational and entertaining as possible. So we know we've got this hovering animation. We've also got a forward flying animation. So that's just hovering up and down. Imagine the character is moving forward at the same time as this as well. So it doesn't need to be like too crazy. Then we've got a fast flying animation when the character is moving at speed. Now in Unreal Engine 4, what I've done is actually sped up some of these animations. So obviously if the character's going fast, it's going to be kind of like, there's a lot of wind resistance, so they're going to be kind of a little bit shaky as they're flying through the air, right? I think so anyway. And then we've got a charge, which is what will happen as the character is about to punch another character. So in the Metal Ballsy minigame, there is the control of, like, you know, holding A, I think, the square button here, and that will like charge at the nearest player. It'll sort of home in on them, and if that player doesn't block the attack, then they'll get punched effectively. So it's like a really big, like, bam, like in Dragon Ball Z, right? So yeah, this is the prelude to that. So imagine the character is flying towards another character while doing this, like with their arm up in the air. And then when they get close to the other character, will they do the charge punch, which is this, right? Bam. Now it looks really derpy, like really crappy. And you can see there's like, I'm being nitpicky here, but you'll see there's like this weird like distortion happening in the skin here. The thing is, the camera is going to be kind of zoomed out a bit. The characters are going to be moving so damn fast, you're not even going to see this stuff. I'm not going to get caught up on those little nitty-gritty details, quite frankly. And I'd have to do a fair bit to try and fix this up, I think. So pretty much the character, when it gets close, does a little punch like that, and wabam. Yeah, the other character gets punched, and then this character returns back to that charging state. and then they'll probably return back to an idle state. So they'll kind of transition in between the animations, and I'll show you that later. Now, we want to go... Now we're doing a beam attack. Actually, I did do some other attacks. I'll quickly show you. So this is just like an energy attack. This is like from just the characters hovering, and they're just doing like that, you know, firing those tiny little little balls of energy. If anyone's watched Dragon Ball Z, they know what the hell I'm talking about. But just imagine, you know, the character standing there, and you know, every time they punch forward, a little energy ball fires out and homes in on the enemy. So that's what this is for. So it's literally just bam. There's not much to it, and it's going to go so fast that it doesn't need to be anything special. So got, you know, they kind of push out, and then there's like a little bit of a kickback as they punch their arm out. Now I did notice a little bit of an issue here. Look at me picking on my own animations already. See this little bone here. Now this is what I have to look at constantly as I go through the animation. You'll see this when I do the other the new animations that we're going to do, right? So as the character punches out, their body moves back, but see how the arm kind of like locks out and hyperextends? That's not normal. And it looks a bit, you can see it kind of like popping over on this left side. I mean, maybe when it's going slow you can see it popping, but it kind of like pops out and it just doesn't look natural. There. See the elbow kind of like popping up like that? We don't want that. To fix that, all I do is grab this little bone and I move it back to, here I'm pointing at screen like that's gonna matter, back to this little green bone here. So I move it back there, and you'll notice the pop just disappeared. And I will do that and it will go away. Boom, done. No more pop. Good, so that's fixed. Same goes for, I've done like an alternate attack. This will do the same thing on the other side effectively. And I'll use this to do like a rapid attack maybe. Or if like a character sort of, they go, you know, they fire and then fire and then fire and fire rather than going pop, 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 like that. So this arm, I think I fixed up maybe. Oh, look, I'm not going to worry about that too much. And then you've got the rapid fire attack where the character's just constantly going bam, 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 bam. Now imagine that this is repeated. So if I go set my animation range to 20, 19, 18, there we go. Now the character's constantly going to do that, and I'll speed up the animation in Unreal Engine 4. So the character's not going to be going they're going to be going like really, really fast. Okay, so just imagine that. Now, let's make a new animation. So we're going to be doing a beam attack. Now, a beam attack, most of you know what that is. It's, you know, the character charges up this energy ball and then fires it forward, and there's this giant beam of energy that it's basically a giant beam of death. Let me just have a cuppa. It's going cold. This is important, this stuff. You guys even get the slurping sounds. Some ASMR slurping. That does not sound good. Alright, so I'm going to select all the bones here, and I'm actually going to copy this first frame of animation. That's what these dots are. They're keyframes, and you know, the program kind of transitions in between the frames, and you'll see that in a second. So if I go to, now I've already created the names of these different attacks. I actually did already create one of the beam attacks, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to show you that yet. So if I go, just trying to think of the name of it. So I've got beam start, beam pulse, beam idle. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit of a stand-up thing here. Just bear with me, this is going to look stupid again, but I'm going to do the camera. Oh, man, my controls aren't working on my Stream Deck. Of course they're not. That's all right, I'll use it. I'll do it manually. So, we've got a couple of, we've got a couple of different animations we're going to do. So first, you know, obviously the character is idling. They're kind of just standing still. And yeah, I'd actually do this when I animate. I'll stand up and I'll try and do the actions as well. So standing up, The character's kind of just hovering there, you know, in the spot. From there, when the player holds down the attack to like charge up their beam, all I need it to do is the character sort of preparing the ball. So this is all we're going to go to. That's the first animation. The second animation will probably be the ball like charging and getting bigger, and maybe the character like twisting further away to get more like force or throw behind it. So they'll do that. So the second animation will be, second animation will be like charging it up. Third animation will be a, you know, actual attack, like they punch it forward, and they're kind of like idling in this, and their hands are like shaking because there's so much power in their hands. There is another additional animation to that where I'll like, I don't know if I'll do this as part of the gameplay, but I'll do it for the sake of fun and experimentation. So while the character's doing their beam attack, maybe the player can do a little mini game to add more power in case like two beams clash at the same time. There has to be something that determines who wins that clash. Otherwise, I'll just make it so that the clash just explodes, and that's boring. All right, so you know, they do their beam attack. Then I could make it so, yeah, the characters are like tapping buttons or something like that, and then they like pulse the attack forward again. So they're like trying to put more energy or force into the attack. So that could be another animation. And then the last animation, I guess, would be, well, that's pretty much it, really. It's so much more to it than that, I guess. Once they've done their beam attack, they kind of just, you know, go back to normal. All right, so we know what our animations are going to be. Let's see how many we can get done. So the first animation will be, oh, I also do charging up animations, power up animations. I'll see if I can show you guys that. So we've got power up start. So this is just so they just kind of like get to that point, and then it'll do a loop of this animation where they're just kind of like charging, and you can see his little hands are like shaking and stuff like that. And then it will go to the end where he's finished his little power up animation, and he kind of like, the power is just kind of like shaking, and then boom, he's like, I'm so strong, and then back to normal. All right, returns, as you can see, he returns back to the idle state, we'll call it, the hovering idle state, which is this here, that one. All right, so let's get this animation done. I've said that a million times. I probably shouldn't keep saying it. So I'm going to call it MBZ. I'm going to create a new animation with this button. Beam, or beam attack maybe. Beam attack, charge. I think charge start maybe. Yeah, charge. I'll just go charge start for the sake of this. Why not? And then I'll make sure I lock that in. I'm just going to delete all these other things. I don't need that, but I'll keep this first frame because that's where we're going to be starting, from the idle position. Now, it's pretty easy for an animation that doesn't loop, because I can literally kind of set the start pose and the end pose, and that's it. And I don't have to worry about it looping. But I also have to make it look good. So this one, gonna be a bit tricky actually. I can't remember how I did it the last time I tried. I think I selected all of this. Actually, I selected the whole thing. I'm gonna move this to about there just for the time being. I can move it later and work out the speed of the animation. And I'm just gonna rotate it because I want the character to, you know, they're sort of idling, and I want them to kind of like twist, right? So they're gonna kind of twist into this position. So from here to here. So let's do that. Oops, not like that. So I'm going to move the whole character. Actually, let's go from this angle here. That way I get an idea of what it looks like from the game, because the game is at that angle. What did that just do? Alright, so here we go. Going to move everything probably about 45 degrees, maybe a little bit more even. I can change it later. but it's a good idea that I get everything in place now. So location and rotation. So what I did there is, this is setting a keyframe. This is saying, hey, I want to lock in the location of all these little things in the space that's in this, this screen, and I want to lock in the rotation. So the rotation being this stuff, the position or location being this stuff, right? Does that make sense? Twisting and bending. Oh, you guys can't even see what I'm sorry. Let's get back to this. My goodness, so professional of me. All right. So I'll get back to this. So what I'm going to show you here is I'm going to rotate this. I got to backtrack now. I got to rotate this about 45 degrees, the whole thing, and I'm going to lock in the location and rotation. All right, so I'm going to do that. I feel sorry for anyone who has to watch this back later. They're going to go, oh my God, this guy sucks. No, I know you're not. I know. You love me. So that is the first part of it. Now, I think I'm going to have to select just the top half of the body. Now, this is what I was talking about, rigging the character skeleton in a good way before. My words are failing me, but if this was a character that was rigged properly, it wouldn't be anywhere near as tedious as what I'm doing right now. Like a professional animator who has a professionally made rig would do this a lot quicker, I think. I'm not a professional animator, although technically, I'm a game developer who does all of this, so I guess maybe I'm professional. I'm getting paid for it, sort of. Anyway, I'm going to rotate this character based on the active element, which is this. So I'm going to twist a little bit of the spine, because the character they're not just rotating their whole body like that. It's rotating and twisting at different parts of the spine, right? Now this character obviously only has like two vertebrae in their spine, so or 3 or 4 vertebrae in their spine, so not much. Hang on, I gotta let my cat out. Here we go. Shut up, come here. Hey, here you go. Alright, well, whatever. Letting the cat out. Hopefully you guys don't hear too much noise. Hey baby, come on. You're fine. You can leave the room now. She's adorable. So I'll twist this part of the character. I think I've already done that, haven't I? Yeah, I have. And then I'll twist, oh my God, the top part of the character. And now you can see that the character's facing the camera, whereas they were facing completely this way before, which is forward. We're gonna fix that up. We're gonna make little adjustments and make it really good after a while. You'll see it all come together, because at first it looks terrible. Always does. Now, we have to work out the hand position. The hand position of these characters. Hang on, I'll just shut the door. Alright. The hand position of the character is, effectively they're standing here. We've got one hand on the top, and then the other hand kind of back like this. So, and that hand is going to push forward. Sorry, they're going to push forward, and this one is going to, twist and, like that. I'm fantastic at these poses. You can tell that I was a kid at one point. Still am. All right. So this arm isn't really going to move much. We also need to make sure that the character is kind of bent over, so don't say anything. We're going to lean this character this way. And normally you can just, grab a bone and you can sort of rotate it either on a particular axis, like a world axis, which no matter which way the character is facing, Z, for example, is directly up. As you can, Z is directly up, right? But if this bone was over here, for example, and I want it to only rotate along that angle, Z's not going to do it. As you can see, that line is straight up. If I want it to rotate along the way it's facing, that's what I would have to do. See the difference? So it gets a little bit tricky when you're navigating these things. And obviously, if I had a good character rig, I wouldn't have this issue. So anyway. So let's continue with leaning the character over this way. I will have a look from here as well. I think I may have rotated the character perhaps a little bit too much. So I'm just gonna rotate him back a little bit. Maybe that's fine. This is where it gets really kind of tedious and a bit boring, I guess, for viewing. But I'm doing it anyway so you guys can see what's involved. So, because I love you. You guys are awesome. So we're going to lean this character over this way. Maybe not like that. I'll lean him like that. Maybe lean that one back. Possibly. Unclick that. And it does require a bit of experimentation as well, so a lot of backtracking, redoing things, making it look kind of nice. Now this is a little bit tricky here because I think I do have to, and you can see there's a little bit of distortion here. Like you can see his legs, like it looks like his torso is just ripping off his body. It's completely twisting off. That's it's not the greatest thing in the world, but what we can do is, I hope I got the right angle. Yes, I do. Yeah, that is the right angle. We can sort of move this foot out this way, maybe lift it up a little bit, make the knee go out this way. That way there's just like a natural skin roll, I guess. Because the foot does have to go back. I don't know if any of you guys have done any martial arts, but you kind of like twist your foot when you do a punch. It's a little bit different to a punch, I guess, in this case, but it's similar. It's got some kind of similarities. And when you watch in Dragon Ball Z, they kind of adopt a pose that's like this as well when they're charging it up. They take a stance, effectively, a wide stance, sort of. So then this leg can kind of come up a little bit, maybe. Can maybe move the knee to face outwards a bit. That looks a bit crap, actually. I likely won't be keeping this animation unless this animation is really good, because I've already done this animation before and I really liked with how it came out. As you guys saw in the thumbnail, that's the animation I liked. I mean, you never know, like the other animation started terribly, so this could end up being the same way. We'll see what happens, I guess. Because I have to kind of create this feeling like the character is really generating a lot of power behind, you know, when they push the beam forward. So I have to really like twist as if like, you know, twisting a elastic kind of rope or something, and then it just kind of snaps back. That's kind of what we're trying to do. And it's sort of like a punch, actually. That's why I bring up the punch in the martial arts stuff. Now, it's sort of like building up torque, I guess, or I don't know. Never mind me trying to use physics terms. So, apparently me talking and trying to animate at the same time is really not a great idea. Might just twist this. Actually, no, I'll twist. Yeah, I have to twist that. No. I'll twist this one back a little bit just so there's less of, you'll see here, like obviously it's doing some weird stuff, so it's twisting past its boundaries, I guess. So now I'll get this one to twist. That's actually probably going to work a lot better. Yeah. I mean, this in itself kind of looks like an animation for something else, like he's falling or something, or skating. So that's kind of good. I like where it's going already. It's coming along. Now this one, now his little arm is going to come down, and as I said, like his arm kind of has to be like it's cupping. I'm not going to say it. So you know, from here comes along. This arm doesn't move much. When you look at this arm here, it just kind of comes up like it doesn't, I mean, it kind of does come back a bit, but it doesn't do a lot. Like it just kind of goes from there to there, right? So we're going to bring this arm over here, rotate it. Oh gosh, what's going on here? Rotate it so it doesn't look like it's snapped. Bring it like that. I'm gonna bring his shoulder down a fair bit too. I can adjust that later, but yeah. That's gonna be a little bit tricky. Now I'm gonna bring his elbow out a bit and just twist that a bit more. I don't want to twist it too much because it just looks a bit weird then. So I may have to drop the elbow or something and then twist it. Once again, like I don't need to get this fine-tuned with these animations, but I do want to make them look good if I ever have to do like any social media post, or if I slow things down for people to see. If I do some like action camera or something like that, maybe it like zooms around the characters. I don't want the character pose to look really janky. So I'm kind of like covering my bases just in case as well. And it's good practice as well to just make sure that the animation is well done. So this, it's good enough there for the time being. It's not great, but I'll just leave that because I will be modifying this upper body to move. So now the other arm. Bring this over. Now it will clip. You can see it's like going into his body here. Obviously doesn't look too good. So that's just his elbow. I'll just move that out because his elbow is going to be quite far out. Like when you look at this pose, you know, it's back here. Look where this elbow is. Like it's poking out. Like you can't really do it from here. It looks really derpy. So elbow out and then bam. So that elbow is going to be poking out. I could also drop the shoulder on this one as well, because I guess when I do this, like I am dropping this shoulder. Right. It's not as easy animating non-humanoid characters because you can't really do that. You can't like pose in real life to get a feel for what the animation should look like. So I really feel for animators who have to, you know, animate animals and stuff like that. I reckon it'd be really difficult. I have tried in the past and I failed miserably, but that was like, when I say in the past, I mean like over 10 years ago. So maybe if I spent a bit of time practicing, I'd be not too bad at it, but I don't have to do that for a while. Although I do want to make a spider boss. That would be really cool. I'm sure you all love spiders. It would be a robotic spider, so don't worry. Alright, I'm gonna twist the arm a little bit. Gonna kind of kick the hand up a little bit. It has to come further across, so I think I'm gonna have to twist this upper body a little bit more. I'm gonna leave out the elbow joint that's over here though. God, his spine looks absolutely, ugh. If my spine did that, I think I would die. I'm gonna leave this arm where it is actually. Oh, hang on, that's not the right thing. And to get a feel for the right head movement, I'm just gonna tilt his head because it is a little bit off-putting when his head starts looking at the wrong spot. So I'm going to be kind of pointing his face where he's going to be looking. It's like when you do an attack in, well, if you do any sort of martial arts, you look where you're going to, you know, send your attack. Same with not just martial arts, anything. If you're shooting or firing a bow or something, you look where you're going to shoot. You don't look away from it. So I'm gonna bring the hand over here. And we're gonna imagine that this little energy ball is gonna start quite small. So we don't want it to be like, you know, oh, I've got this giant thing in my hands and then I'm firing it. No, it's going to be like small and then it's just gonna be like, and then fires. So yeah, depending on how long the player holds down their attack for. So I mean, as you can see, it's kind of coming along already. Just these initial poses, just putting things in place and making sure they're all good. So I'm gonna actually select this. If I stop for some random reason, just know that it's because of the fact that, you know, I'm having a think for a bit. I'm actually going to put some background music on for you guys as well, I think. So let's see if I can do that. Just bear with me while I just mess around with my OBS settings. So just hang on a second. Hope you guys are all doing well, by the way. Oh, hang on. Hope you're all, you know, obviously most places are, well, pretty much all places are out of lockdown and stuff now. So, you know, sort of back to a bit of normality. I've had COVID. Personally, it wasn't too bad for me. It was actually kind of tame. I've had way worse. But at the same time, you know, a lot of people have suffered from it significantly, or, you know, unfortunately, you know, passed away from it. So it's still a very serious thing. It's still a threat. So just make sure you guys are looking after yourselves and making sure that you, you know, practice safe hygiene standards and all that kind of stuff. Should be doing that anyway, regardless of COVID. But yeah, I hope you're all doing well. So just bear with me. I'm just trying to find out where I've got my Andy Gillian's music, just so I can kind of put something in the background. I was trying to find my Metalhead's music. I just can't find where I've got it at the moment because this is a new computer as well. So it's a little bit difficult to find it. What is this doing? I can't find it. Okay, I'm just gonna add the folder. Sorry guys, this is a bit annoying. There we go. Now we've got some background music. It's really loud. I'm just gonna turn it down for you, and that way it's kind of just in the background. Let me just hear the volume for a second, see how loud it is. I'm sorry guys. I don't want you guys to be complaining about it being way too loud. So let's go away, whatever that is. What? Alright, let's skip forward. That way it's kind of just in the background. Let me just hear the volume for a second, see how loud it is. I'm sorry guys. I don't want you guys to hear it again. Way too loud. So let's go away. I'll just turn it down. Like, I think about that. That's fine. If it is too loud, well, shit. That sucks. It just needs to be subtle in the background. Alright, what the hell was I doing? Alright, so we're going to move, we're going to twist the body a little bit more. Don't want that there, and I don't want that there. I just want to rotate that. I don't need the elbow as well. That can stay out where it is. So it's just really this upper body part. Heck, I don't even need the head to move. I can just do that. And you can see, like, as you can see, it's like selected only those specific body parts. And now I can kind of like twist it and get a little bit more range of motion. Now you can see that hand is like comfortably sort of going over where I needed to go. Because before, if I tried to move that hand out there, that like the elbow would like pop out and it would look really stupid. So now it's kind of in a good position, and I can maneuver, I can move it around to an even better spot. So I can drop the elbow once again, drop the shoulder on that once again. I could even, you know, drop this down like really far, like he's really getting deep into the attack, like the preparation for the attack. It's almost like he's hiding it. It's like, I'm gonna surprise you with this giant beam of light that's gonna destroy you in the world. Move this elbow out. I want that elbow to be up. As you can see, that's what it's gonna look like in the game. I want the hand to be kind of up like that. I can move the hand even further back, I think. And same with this one here. I can move that like really far back. Maybe even a bit down. Kind of like, it's kind of cradling this ball of light and destruction, and this is kind of just stopping it from going too crazy. I kind of like that. And yeah, that's fine. It's like a natural-ish position for the wrist. You know, it's kind of silly that I go into this detail for this, but I am a little bit of a perfectionist when it comes to stuff like this. I don't want to have crappy animations in my game. So anyway, so that can be like the starting pose. Like, you know, the character goes back to there and then they kind of like hover around that spot for a bit. That can be like the start of it. Location, rotation, so I set them all in spot, and now you'll see it just breaks, it falls apart, it's terrible, oh my god, ugh. But now it's fine. Now it breaks, now it's fine. So what I need to do now that I've set kind of the end pose, like I'm kind of happy with this end pose just as a temporary thing. Now what I need to do, look, I'm not that happy with it. I'm gonna actually move this, kind of straighten the leg out a bit. There we go. That looks a little bit better, right? Yeah. Really looks like he's getting into it. Or she. It. There's no gender for these characters, guys. No gender whatsoever. Because I don't give a damn. They can be whatever you want them to be. Now, obviously, we've got a bit of an issue. So that the hand just kind of goes from... See, this is the thing. These are two key points. Think of it like a linear thing, right? Point A, point B, the most direct route is that way, straight to it. Ideally, so what I want is, you know, I've got to put some points in between to kind of like, you know, take a route, you know, a different route than straight ahead. So, and if we looked at the character straight, like top down, well, it's kind of hard to see, but anyway, if we looked at the character straight down, this hand needs to come around the body. Obviously, you can't do that by going straight through the body. It has to go around, right? I'm sure that makes sense, and I just made that way more complicated than what it needed to be, or convoluted, rather. So, now what I do is I kind of go in between somewhere. This will do. And I move the hand somewhere else. So, I can kind of move it there, maybe a bit down like that. Now I haven't even done animation on the fingers yet, or posing on the fingers yet, so just I'll get to that. That's when I do like the fine-tuning stuff, right? That's when I really like, it's like the icing on the cake, I guess, decorations and stuff. So the character's kind of like bringing the hands, so if we take my wonderful posing skills here, character is standing still like so, and then they come around. So we're kind of going to get to this point here. So we've already done this, right? Now we have to, you know, get to here. So I'm just going to kind of move the hands to where it sort of naturally would be. So which means I'll rotate this. Rotate it upwards a little bit. Move the elbow controller. Kind of. It's not super important where that is at the moment, but it does obviously change how the character's arm moves across. So we'll just leave it like that. I don't want this to move around too much because it can look really, really crap. If, like, you know, as the arm's moving, the elbow, you just see it like flopping around. The good thing is things like that stand out and you can fix them pretty easily. So this is a good sort of central point for that and that. So I'll lock those in. Now you'll see it doesn't clip through the body, but you'll still see that there are some issues like here. If you look over to the left side, you'll see the arm kind of like goes through the body. So we'll fix that up in a second. So effectively with like dividing, this is how I do it anyway, you're kind of dividing the animation in half each time, and then fixing up the little issues that come along with this. So the left arm, however, is kind of, it's almost fine. Like you can almost just kind of leave it as is. As you can see, it kind of naturally moves into position. But the thing is with animations, and you'll see this in a lot of indie games, even AAA titles actually, where there's a bad animation, it's very static. It's very like from here to here. There's no like here to here and then like a little bit of a wobble or something at the end. There's no like, no maneuvering of the hand to get to that position. It's just, it's very just point A to point B, and it just kind of looks very amateur. So I like to avoid that. I hate seeing it in games. As soon as I see a game that's like that, I'm just like, this feels cheap. It feels like a, what do you call it, an asset flip. They just like grabbed a bunch of assets, thrown it into a game and gone, oh yeah, I'll call it a day and make some money on Steam. That's what it reminds me of. A developer who's not putting passion into the animation. So I like to put passion into every aspect of the game. That's just me though, and if a developer wants to make static animations because they're not skilled enough or they just don't care about it, so be it. If the game's fun, who cares? But for me, it's personal preference, guys. Personal preference. I just like to see some nice polished animations. Even if they're overdone, I'd rather see that than to see it underdone. Underdone? Underdone. Alright, so now I'm going to move this arm here a little bit. I'm going to kind of move it forward so there's like a little bit of a delay before the hand kind of comes back. So I'm just gonna, I didn't rotate it, so I'm just gonna set the location of it. Oh no, it's kind of sitting in spot. You can see it kind of like comes back at the last second. I might even just, no, that doesn't really work either. What I can do is sort of up that there. I don't want to move it too much because what you'll see is like the animation kind of snaps and it looks a bit crappy, so. Oh, there we go. That doesn't look too bad. See, it's kind of bringing the hand forward and then bringing it back. It's subtle. It's very subtle, guys, but this is the kind of thing I'm talking about with nuanced animations. So I could even improve that. Look, I am getting very nitpicky about this right now, so I probably shouldn't. I could even twist it inwards and then set the location and rotation. Now you see down the bottom here is what I mean by like things snapping into place. And you'll see if I go to this, oh no, never mind. But if I rotated this heaps, right? If I rotated the hands like some crazy amount, and then I go back, see how it just like snaps, and then when you play it, boom, it's going so fast you don't really notice it, but it looks terrible. In that one frame, it just like snaps his wrist. I don't want that. That's bad. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is move this. And I thought I twisted this. I didn't see the rotation of it. Derp. That way. Sure, that seems good enough. And now you can kind of see like this back arm, it kind of goes like from here, oh, hang on, it kind of goes like, man, it's really hard to do this on the camera. Kind of goes, if I'm standing here, as it's twisting, the arm kind of comes forward and then comes back, but like it's facing that way and then it like pulls back, like it's kind of like pulling back into a punch. Like when you do martial arts, like when they get you to do like a kata or something like that, you're literally like, it's like you're pulling, like bam. It's hard to explain. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into it. I'm sure there's martial arts experts out there going, that's not right. Shut up. All right, so now, yeah, so it doesn't look too bad. It actually kind of like flows, and at the end of it I can make it kind of like bounce back to that position, like it's really getting a lot of force, and then it can, like, I'll explain it in a second. So effectively what I'd do is make it go from there, and then afterwards it would kind of like do that. It'll just bounce back a little bit. I'm not going to do that now because we're still fixing up the I guess the median points of the animation. where it's just like clipping through the arms and stuff like that. Same with the head. So the head is, it's not too bad actually. It kind of just flows with the body. It kind of naturally just goes into position, so I don't need to worry about the head too much. When you look at it, it's I could actually rotate the head a little bit. Not like that. Because I want it to kind of, see, if we look at it front on, it's not too bad. But I want it to be like, hey, I'm looking the heck at you. Like, yeah, that kind of thing. See, it's a sexy pose. Alright. Although I could, in between, I could make it so it's kind of like, you know, the head's kind of moving a little bit, just to add a little bit of extra nuanced animation in there. I know I said that the head should always look forward, but hey, sometimes, you know, doing things that aren't quite normal looks better. It's not, makes no sense, but so kind of looks away, but then like, yeah, kind of is into it. Look at that booty. Boop, 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 boop. I'm sorry. All right. So let's, you'll see there's a bit of arm, like there's a bit of pulling here happening on the skin of the character. That's, like, you don't notice that from here, because here's where the camera's going to be looking. Like, you're not going to see all of this. We're going to be seeing this. Although, yeah, that booty is really poking out. Doesn't matter. Anyway, so what we're going to do now is we're going to fix up this like weird clipping in the arm here. So as you can see, at this point, the arm's in a bit of a strange spot. So I kind of want to just first rotate it like that. Maybe kick the elbow out a little bit, bring it out from the body. Yeah, I could maybe leave it hanging out like that, like the wrist isn't tucked in, it's kind of just getting ready to go into position. It's like it's swinging its way around. So then, as it moves across, yeah, that looks a lot better. You don't notice it because it happens so damn quick, but when, there's the thing about an animation, you can do an animation that's fairly, you know, point A to point B, but and it can all happen, you know, within you know, 1/10 of a second. Maybe not that, but like maybe half a second, right? The problem is they can look really jerky. Our brains pick up on it. If you were to ask somebody like the difference between an animation where it just went from point A to point B versus an animation that had the exact same start and end points, but more nuanced animation keys, like keyframes in between, our brains would pick up on all those little minute movements and rotations and stuff like that, and we would identify that as a better animation, you know, provided that obviously the nuanced animation was done correctly. One would look very basic, the other one would look polished, I guess. Yeah, I guess it'd be like painting a car versus painting it and then polishing it, making it look shiny and detailed and all that kind of stuff. Alright, so we've got this here. Character kind of gets in the position, but I kind of want him to, you know, the arms to bounce back a little bit. So we'll get to here. And it's only very subtle, like really subtle. So the arms kind of ease into it. And also offsetting the animation so they're not all being keyframed at the exact same time can help in a big way. So for example, I could move the arms, like the keyframes for these two hands. You'll notice that every other part of the body stops at that exact same point. What's a really good little thing to do is you could maybe move this forward a little bit so that the arms kind of reach that point before the rest of the body. But you'll see there's some issues happening with that there. Like, for example, the elbow just locked out and kind of broke. So maybe I want to put the arms further back. or the keyframe for the arms further back, so the body gets in the position, then the arms kind of like slide into position, and then bounce forward afterwards rather than backwards. So I get this, I go to here, and then maybe I can kind of just move them like that. And there we go. So now it kind of goes, meow, bonk. Maybe not like that, that looks a bit shit. But I think you get the idea anyway. I can move that back a little bit more, that's probably, doesn't need to move that much. And I could slow it down a bit by dragging that out, so it can be like, that actually didn't look horrible. Bear in mind, this is probably going to get sped up in the engine. Change my range of keyframes. Yeah, that actually didn't look too bad. There we go. And then we also need to do the same thing with the rest of the body as well. So we've got to kind of like, you know, you can't just focus in on the arms. Like I can maybe move the leg of this one. I could maybe make that go there so it gets to that end point before the other leg. Maybe the other leg goes a little bit before the rest of the body. And you can kind of see, like it's very subtle, but like that front leg kind of like stops before the rest of it. And then what I can do is kind of like drag the leg, you know, set a final pose so everything kind of gets into a position. Oops. Right at the very end. That's fine. And this pose, like where this animation stops, is where the next one is going to start. So we haven't even done the next animation yet. We're already an hour into the stream. Sorry guys, it's just part of animation. It takes a long time. It takes a long time. So you can kind of see that leg kind of settles into position. I kind of don't like how far that's moving, so I'll just change it a little bit. Now it's just a very subtle kind of movement. And this one here, I may not need these extra frames at the end. I think it's unnecessary, maybe. And this one can kind of tuck up and back a little bit. Yeah, I'll do that. So that goes. Yeah, it's not great, but it'll have to do for now because I wanted the first animation to be done like within the first hour. So there's that. What I'll do is very quickly twist the upper body. Do that one and yeah, whatever. I'll just twist that a little bit. Do that as well. So now there's just lots of little nuanced animations happening all at once now, so including the head is moving too, so I'll just do that, why not? Rotate that one. As I said, this is the start of an animation, so it's going to be very, very quick. You're not going to notice it too much. But as you can see, it doesn't look horrible. One thing I do want to touch on though is before I move on to the next animation, I have to, you know, kind of finalize this pose. Well, I don't have to, but like I would prefer to, because the next animation is going to start with that pose. So I don't want to go do the entire animation sequence, which is several animations tied together, then have to go back, change the first one or a pose of another one, and then go back and change the rest of the animations. It just doesn't, it's not like a very productive way of doing things. So this hand, I guess, has to be kind of like curled up a little bit. Yeah, like it's kind of like holding or cradling an energy ball. Just think of it like a beach ball in here. All right. This one kind of, I mean, I could make the hands go out like that, I guess, or I could make it go out like that. I think I'll just do the same thing. I'll just curl both the hands up a little bit, and then when the character like fires the energy ball, that's when the hands kind of like spray out, like that the fingers go from here to there. It's like when there's a thing called a palm strike in various martial arts, and that's like effectively your hands are like that, right? Some martial arts will open the fingers for some reason, but yeah, it'll be like that. But when you start, it's like you're kind of starting from a fist, I guess. It's like an idle, sort of position, guard up or whatever, and then a palm strike is bam, and you can see like from here, hand is open. Or, you might be from a fist kind of position, and then bam. And you can, and you can see the hands, like it's only a very minuscule sort of motion, but you can see my knuckles kind of come out like that, right? You don't obviously want to hit with that part, you want to hit with the palm, otherwise you break your fingers. But, even going from an open hand, bam, like your fingers kind of, they're going out like that. And it's the same sort of thing with this, like it's kind of curled like that, much like, it's curled like that, and then I gotta stop talking about that. Anyway, so here's our animation. So far, so good. That's good. All right, and imagine that there's a little sphere in between, so I could maybe do that. Oops. Can I please add a sphere? Thank you. UV sphere. And this would be like a little energy ball. And that energy ball would grow. So if I then smooth that out, and then I can maybe add some texture to it. Don't know what all these are, but anyway, that's our energy ball. And as you can see, it's kind of in between the hands, and it conforms kind of nicely. Yeah, there we go. That'll be kind of what it's going to look like, except for it's going to be glowing and looking really cool. All right. I may as well keep that there, actually. It's good as a reference point. So that's another thing in animation. You can use other tools and objects, especially if there's a interaction with the environment, like if there's a computer terminal or something like that, and it's a particular height. You can't just kind of, you can wing it. You can kind of have a guesstimated sort of idea of where the animation is going to end up, but it's better to just have like these visual tools within the animation program so that you know that, hey, that keyboard that the character needs to rest their hands on is at that height. The keys are there, so the character's fingers need to go to those positions. So there's lots of little things and tips and tricks that you can do. I'm not using really any plugins either. There's lots of plugins you can get that make animation a hell of a lot better. All right, so that's good for the first animation, I think. So I'm going to select that entire animation and lock it in. So that I selected all the bones, lock in the keyframes, so that when I play this, now once again, this is going to happen really quick in the game, like really quick. Probably double the speed. Maybe not that. It'll be like, but if it's done quickly and it looks cool with the little nuance animations, and the nuance animations are there, it'll look cool. Anyway, so next animation will be charge idle. So charge idle will be effectively the hands. They're going to be like this, and as the energy ball expands, the hands are kind of like. Actually, it won't be charge idle. Hang on. This really should be called prepare. Or charge start. Hang on. What is this? Charge start we've got, and we've got charge. I guess charge up. I don't know. Just trying to think. Like now, the reason I'm kind of stopping for a bit is because I have to think of how it's going to work gameplay wise. So this is part of what takes a lot of time, is there's a design decision that needs to be made. So at this point, there's a bit of a crossroads, because it's like, well, the animations are happening really quickly. Do I want it so that the character's hands, like as they're holding, the charge up button when they're going to do the attack, is the ball getting bigger in the hands? Is the character, visibly showing that the ball is getting bigger? what happens if the character lets go halfway through, or maybe they just tap, so hold the attack like really quickly. Obviously the beam's not going to be as powerful, but they're getting it done as quicker. There's lots of little things I have to think about. So the good thing is, if I decide not to go with an idea, I can just come back in here, change the animation if need be. So anyway, I am trying to decide what I want to do. So we've got the start, and the start is when that's going to play no matter what, and that will just simply be when the character, you know, holds the beam attack button for more than like 0.2 of a second, because that same button is, just got to point this out, that same button is, you know, I think I've got it set up like this with the square, at least on a one of these controllers, a PlayStation controller, but on an Xbox controller, for example, I'll use a non-corded one, it's a bit easier. You know, I think I've got it set up to the X button, so when you tap the X button, that's super quick, right? So I want that to fire the little energy bolts, but if the character holds like that, then it would charge up the beam attack. So I kind of, yeah, I think what I'm gonna do is, yeah, make it so if the characters just tap, character kind of like shoots one little energy bolts. If they keep tapping like that really fast, and they do that rapid fire animation that I was talking about before, and I showed you guys, but if they tap and hold, that's when they initiate the beam attack start animation, and that's, you know, it could still be interrupted halfway through, but it sort of has to do that initial start animation, and then as they're holding it, the character would do their charge up, or the beam attack charge up animation, where it's like getting bigger in their hands. I could make it so there is, I guess, a maximum size for that. I could also add a feature like if the player is charging it for too long, then it just blows up in their hands. That could actually be kind of fun. I might do that. Yeah, like maybe it's just like too powerful for them to handle, and it's also a gameplay thing. It's like, well, you can't just like hold the beam attack, wait for another player to get close, and then use the beam attack. That would be a bit of a cheese ability, I guess. Or the player would have to like maneuver around you to try and avoid it. So I think it would be good to make it so you can't just sit there holding this attack the whole time. Eventually something's got to give. So yeah, what I'll do a charge up, so that's fine. Charge up will take a fair bit of time. This will be a fairly long animation, I think. So we need to get the end pose, which is this one here. Don't know why it hasn't locked in all of the animations. That's kind of weird, but okay. Close all that down. So I'm going to grab that. I'm going to delete the rest of the animations. Oh, there we go. Now it's done it. Move these to the start. Just make sure I haven't overridden my other one. Okay, good. I've still got that one. Now we're going to go charge up. And I might make this like 120, 140 frames per long. Now I can slow this animation down, obviously, within Unreal Engine 4, but there's going to be a lot of like shaking in the hand, so I don't want it to be a slow animation, in the sense that like if I make this 140 frames, right, and let's say 140 frames takes maybe 3 seconds to play, I don't, and like every 0.05 of a second, it's like the hand is shaking up and down, right? The problem is if I slow that down, then it's stretching that frame time out, so that 140 frames, rather than taking 3 seconds, now takes like 10 seconds. And what will happen is each little vibration will kind of look like it's in slow-mo. I don't want that to happen, so I have to do a little bit of a balancing act and kind of eyeball it a bit, tweak it, adjust it, that kind of thing. So this has to be a kind of a long animation. So I'm just going to zoom out here, and I'm going to work out how long this is roughly. But first, what we have to do, guys, we have to set the end pose. So the end pose will be as we discussed. Actually, no, this isn't the attack. That's right. This is... Oh man, the end pose is pretty much going to end up in the same spot, except for the hands are going to be apart. Alright, that's fine. We can do that. Easy peasy. So this... Like, because the ball is... Like, the energy ball is going to be huge, right? In the character's hands. So, kind of like, put the hands out that way. That's going to be interesting. I think the character's going to have to kind of lean, like twist a little bit more as well. So, just to actually kind of compensate for the size of the energy attack. Can I twist the whole body? Yeah, I can do that. I can do that a little... actually, it looks a bit jank. Maybe I'll just twist the upper half. That still looks a bit jank. Oh, man. I've already twisted the body a fair bit, actually, and you can kind of see that in the leg here. It's just doing some weird stuff. So I can sort of twist it just a little bit, right? Can make that, like, really big. Character's elbow probably won't stay up that far, like, because they're just supporting this ball. So the elbow will probably drop a bit. This arm will probably come out a little bit like that and come back. So the elbow kind of like comes back a bit. This arm will probably come out as well from the body, because if it's like a huge attack, and it's probably going to twist inward a bit, like it's trying to hold onto this giant freaking ball. Speaking of, let's just... As I said, we use our little tool just to kind of work out where we're at. Now this ball has to stay in that spot, by the way. That's it's a good reference point, so that I don't like move the arms like too far away and make it look kind of stupid then. So this arm can kind of go to about there. This one can kind of wrap around a little bit, like it's that arm is really like it's hanging on to this giant beach ball thing now, made of pure energy and death and destruction. The wrist will probably be a bit like that. Maybe I will bring it a bit closer. Twist the hand out a bit like that. And what we're going to do now is we're going to unfold the fingers a little bit, because this ball is freaking huge. Maybe it doesn't matter too much. Like, this is just a small thing. And then I can bring that down a bit. I can go there. Like, you're not gonna see this too much. So I'm being very meticulous about this, unnecessarily so. And these little things, like these can take time. This is like, obviously this is taking time, but you can get a bit carried away with them. And as a game developer, you have to kind of, especially an indie game developer who has a day job and, you know, had limited time to actually work on the game, have to balance your time out a bit. I didn't do that very well for a lot of the development, because I was in a situation where I was kind of racing against the clock. My money was just draining very, very quickly. I didn't have any other financial support. And, you know, when you're the sole income earner and you're trying to look after two people, it doesn't really work very well. So anyway, especially if the other person isn't working, sorry. So this elbow can sort of drop down. Now I have to reset this camera, by the way. Have a look at what it's going to look like. Ideally, I should be kind of like folding the character back a little bit too. If it's getting bigger, the character's probably not going to be like leaning into it as much. So I'm going to, not that. Going to kind of like lean back these bones. Whoops. Lean that one back. Lean this one back. Now I should have grabbed the elbow joints as well, which I'll do now. Oh, what the heck did I do then? Okay, there. So that's going to lean back a bit. And you'll see that there's a little bit of folding happening on the character's body there. That's fine, we can fix that up. Character's probably going to be like standing a bit more upright because this thing is huge. And then back like that. Actually, I could probably leave that part there. If anything, I could lean it, lean it forward. Just kind of straighten up the spine a little bit elsewhere. And then just kind of tilt that back the way it should have gone before. Lift the head up a bit, move the arms a bit. Kind of put it into a good little spot, that's fine. I'm not going to see too much of this hand here, so... But I will drop it down a bit. Probably to about there. Not too sure if that's good or not, but... Oh well, it's going to have to do. The elbow position... Yeah. Now... Maybe that energy ball's a bit too big, but oh well. I can adjust it later, as we've said. I think that's okay for the arm position. So I should just lock in that frame, by the way. We'll just see how long it takes to get to there. I mean, that takes about 6 seconds, roughly, thereabouts. So that's actually not too bad. I mean, when we look at gameplay-wise, like if a player is holding, if they're charging this attack, we kind of want it to be like about probably 5 to 6 seconds. You know, we don't want it to be like too long, but we also don't want it to be you know, ridiculous over top as well. The other thing I have to do is because what I was saying before about you know, adding in this gameplay thing of like if the player's charging it for too long, it'll like burst. What I need to do as it gets towards the end of this animation, the hands kind of need to really be shaking, like it's unstable. So I could even prolong this by like another second. So I'll probably make it like 180. And that last second would, what the heck is going on here? Let's just see what this ends up being like. I don't know why this arrow is there. Go away. Alright, so it's like 8 seconds. I can adjust it. It's fine for now. So pretty much from like this here to this here, that's like 2 seconds right there, okay? So in that time, that's when I can do like the really unstable, like, oh my god, this is losing control. And then the last animation I would do is it's just like the character's just getting absolutely wrecked. So it blows up in their hand. Or they just automatically fire it. Perhaps that would be a bit better. I think, you know, detonating in the character's hands might be frustrating for some people who, especially people who don't understand it. They're like holding the button down and then suddenly they blow up. They're like, what's the point in this attack? So maybe I'll just have it automatically fire. I don't know yet. This is something I got to figure out. This mini game, by the way, it's quite huge. It's not really a mini game. Like it could be a game in itself. So yeah, I could literally like make sales for metalheads based on this one mini game, especially because people love Dragon Ball Z and they love anything related to Dragon Ball Z. It's Metal Ball Z though. You know, copyright and all that sort of stuff. Got to avoid that. So it's inspired by Dragon Ball Z. All right, so from what have I got to do here? I guess it's kind of fine. Like all I need to do is add some kind of like idle animations to the legs and stuff like that and the body as it's kind of coming out a little bit. So I can make it kind of, these can move a little bit further back or something like that, or maybe they can kind of like tuck forward a bit over time, and this leg can come forward because it's like, oh my god, I'm losing control, holy crap. This one can probably come out, this one can probably come out as well. It's like, oh damn, this thing's about to blow. That's a bit of an unnatural angle for that, but anyway. So I can, once again, I'll just set that pose. So then we've got a little bit of movement in the legs, you know. It's very slow, very subtle, but over time as I add more keyframes, like you can kind of, you'll see it all come together. So that's gonna move to this pose, right? I think all around that's fine for now. All right, let's go to, let's add some wobbling to the character. So effectively what we're gonna do is make the character kind of like look like they're losing control. So maybe the upper body can rotate a bit. Maybe the whole body can rotate, I don't know. Just very small amounts. So I can make it so that's like, this is where it gets really tedious. Doing shaking animations, oh man, it's a pain in the bum. I'll actually show you, I'll go to, where was it? The charging animations. So if we look at power up start maybe? Nope. It is power up idle. Yeah, see how many little keyframes there are? See, like tiny little movements of the character just like shaking around. If I just select the hand, for example, it's like up, down, up, down, up, down. If you look at this hand here, it's like the tiniest little movements, right? When you add a lot of them, they kind of stand out. And you can see the whole body's like rotating and moving at the same time. This is what I mean about nuanced animations. So, and it all comes together looking like, you know, they're kind of straining to keep this power. So, where the heck were we? Charge up. There. So now I've got to do that. Oh, that's going to be fun. Yeah, all right, let's do it. I've got to make this ball. I'll make a small ball and a large one. So small ball is probably about yay big. Let's make this one like transparent. Make the other one, I could make that transparent as well, maybe. Using the wrong texture here though. Where's transparency? It's there somewhere. Alpha. Oh, that's not useful. Can I blend mode, alpha? Whatever. I don't know what I'm doing with this. Whatever. I'm just gonna leave that. I'm not gonna get into that too much. Maybe it's in here. Yeah, there we go. There is another way of doing it. You can actually you can set objects to be like a ghost, I think. I can't remember how to do it. It's like the Z key. You do wireframe. That I don't want to do that. That's shit. There is another thing. I haven't done it in a while. I haven't needed to. I think it's actually. Hey, who's that? Booyah. Hey, buddy. Oh. So we got viewport shading. Hard at work indeed, mate. Hard at work indeed. Just doing some little animations. Hope you're doing well. How do you know about the game? How'd you find out about the stream? Who is Booyah, by the way? Do I know you personally? Or are you from the Discord community? So, right. Well, we know where the start point is of the ball, like the energy ball and the end point. So what we'll do now, select this. What we're going to do is move the arms. We're going to like shake them out. We're going to like separate them. As we can see there, they're already sort of on their path to move that way. So all we need to do now is maybe every 5 animations, 5 frames, I can kind of move it subtly at first. That's a little bit too much actually. That's way too much. 5, I can just like kind of, there. Like it has to be very small amount and then it gets crazier. Haven't been on Metalheads in quite some time, but to see it on top in the future. And I would love to see it, you know, doing really well, obviously, in the future. So I appreciate you being here and being part of the stream, and yeah, just checking out what's involved in some of the development. I just want to show you guys, you know, what is involved. It's a little bit of a long stream because it is development. It is me figuring out things as I go while trying to talk to you guys and educate you guys. But yeah, I haven't done a stream in a while, and I thought this would be a good opportunity to get back into it and see how things go. We have spoken in the past, but no, we don't know each other. Okay, cool. All right. Are you on the Discord community, Booyah? So that's going to move a little bit, and then I'm going to move it a little bit down again, because you got to think this animation it's slowly moving outwards, so the outwards movements are mostly done. All I need to do is like move it back a little bit as it's going out, and that's the shaking animation. So half the work's already done, basically. So 5. Now I don't have to do it 5. I could make it like 5 and then 3 and then 4 and then 6, and you know, just to really create a little bit of chaos in the animation, which I can do later. It just adds once again that nuanced detail that probably no one's gonna see. Been in there for a long time but not active. That's fine, Booyah. I've been in there a long time and not active as well. No, I'm kidding. Alright, so that's gonna go in like that, and then wait, what's that doing? And so what I'm doing here, Booyah, I don't know, when did you join the stream, by the way? Did you just join in, or... Oh, my camera just stopped. What the hell? Let's turn that back on. Why'd you stop? Stupid camera. It's probably, it's been off too long. Hello, camera. Battery exhausted? What do you mean battery exhausted? It doesn't have a battery. It's plugged in. Let me just fix this up. My camera, I reckons its battery is exhausted. Which is really interesting considering it does not have a battery. You know what? I think I'll turn the camera off. We don't need it anyway. I'll let it charge up a bit or something. Because I accidentally left my camera on while I was at work today, because I was like making sure the stream setup was all good. And so, yeah, the battery's probably completely flat, so it's like hovering around 1 or 2%, trying to, like, you know, stay running. It is charging, but obviously it's charging off USB, so it's probably draining more than it's actually needing to run the camera. Plus, it's probably getting a bit hot. So anyway, we don't need my ugly face on the camera anyway. So now, so this, what I'm doing here, Booyah, is just like basically as the character is, you know, as you can see, as they're holding down the beam attack button, the beam kind of like, it grows in size to the point where it becomes unstable. So I have to kind of like make the hands kind of like shake a little bit. Although it's not very noticeable there, which I'll change that later. It just looks like the hand is dropping at the moment, which is crap. So it's meant to kind of like shake up. Maybe not at first, actually. I can do like very, very subtle animations and then ramp it up later. Where's that one? That's going down. So this one goes down. That's also going down. I need that to go up. Is there a way to convert UE4 projects into UE5 yet? Yeah, there is. It's not a simple, straightforward process though. I'm not gonna do it yet. Because it could, like, I really, like, the main focus is getting updates out for you guys and fixing the problems within the game and that kind of stuff. Upgrading the engine is not really going to benefit you guys just yet, so I'd rather fix up any of the bugs and problems once the game is like at a stable point. The version of Unreal Engine 5 that is out at that point will be a lot more stable as well, and so therefore, you know, I could probably make that transition and not have as much stress looming over me about people, you know, maybe Pokemon playing the game again and you know, playing a buggy version or something like that. So I'd rather, you know, people who have recently purchased the game to play a nice polished version than to worry about going up to Unreal Engine 5 just yet. But Unreal Engine 5 looks incredible. I've seen some awesome stuff coming from it. It's got some really cool technology that I'd love to use. But at this stage, it's not a priority. Now, you can kind of see this is a little bit too much. Look, I'll do a bunch of movements and then I'll change it. So this is part of the tedious process of animating. But when you finish it though, it all comes together and looks really damn good. And doing a nice animation and putting it into the game is such a satisfying thing. Like it's like anything, you know, when I started Metalheads, it was such a basic thing. Like the characters were just these crappy little teddy bear things that I made ages ago. You know, that didn't have sounds, didn't have anything. The animations were rubbish. But you know, all the tiny little things that I do in the game, it all comes together in the long run. It's kind of like I don't know. It's like cooking a meal. You can cook a steak, right? Anyone, like most people can cook a steak. It's pretty simple. But can you cook a steak with lots of flavor? Can you cook a steak like, you know, to the precise way you want it, with nice juiciness, or maybe you like your steak dead, like really dead, so, or blue, which is, you know, well done. You know, that's one thing. Like cooking the steak is a very linear thing. It's, you know, from point A to point B, there's your steak cooked. But adding flavor to the steak, that's your nuance. That's all the little things, like right now adding vibration to the character's hands, and you know, in the sense of the actual development of Metalheads, adding tiny little features that most people probably wouldn't even recognize unless I told them, but their brains recognize while they're playing it. So there's lots of little things like that go into the development of a game, of a good quality game rather. I mean, it's this little hand animation. It's not great, but as I said, I can polish it up later. I don't want to go like 20 minutes for this animation. I'm going to be here for a while. Actually, another good example of nuance is the game Where's Wally? It's just a picture, but in that picture, there's so much happening. And the game of Where's Wally is finding that tiny little nuance. And it's such a simple thing. It's literally just like, hey, find this little dude on a picture. Okay, that's simple, right? But while you're looking for him, you're seeing all these little cool, interesting things that are happening on the rest of the picture. And that's kind of like anything to do with creativity. Is those little nuanced details make a huge difference as to the actual end results of the game, or whatever it is, or whatever the product is. Doing this without listening to music, by the way, is such a weird feeling. Like I normally sit here and listen to heavy metal music. It is a little distracting, but you know, I also love my heavy metal, obviously. Oh, here I am like posing for the camera and looking at the camera, and the camera's not even working. I'll have to ask ask my friends to hop on and see where the game stands at the moment for a little fun. Look, Booyah, I would hold out until I do the next update, because there's a lot of things that have changed and been fixed and that kind of thing. Unfortunately, like when I do these updates, I tend to like to do big updates, not small ones. That's not a good thing. You guys want to see, you know, lots of updates, lots of little things being changed and fixed all the time. And unfortunately, I don't tend to do that. I tend to do these massive big updates as a goal, and I change a lot of things, and I can't just simply, you know, I can't do a little update right now because there's so many big updates at the same time that aren't finished. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's, it just wouldn't work. Got an ETA. Well, I'm aiming for this next update to be out before Christmas. I mean, ideally, if I can get it out before the end of this month, that would be amazing. But there is a lot to do. It just depends on how quickly I can get things, whether or not I run into... What the hell just happened then? Did I lose power? No, everything's still good. I just lost my my light, my key light. Not that I need it on anyway. What? I hope I'm not losing power. Oh, there's a light. That's bright. Okay. Never mind me. Yeah, so there's lots of little things that I got to do. So yeah, I'm just aiming for the end of the year. Just got to make sure that I just keep on top of it. I don't know what my roster looks like for my day job. There's a lot going on with the day job. Obviously, with end of year, it's a retail sales job, so you know they need as much help as they can get. Sickness tends to be rampant at this year as well because there's so many more people out, which means that there's more chance of me being called into work. I do care about the people I work with, so I do want to help them out as much as I can and be as reliable as possible, but at the same time I do need to look after myself. So yeah, there's a lot involved, so it just depends on how many hours I get in my day job and whether or not I can actually sustain the hours I do there and work on the game and not be completely burnt out while also going to the gym and keeping fit and healthy and all that kind of stuff as well. So it's just life in general, I guess, just balancing time and looking after ourselves. Now, I said at about 140, that's when this ball is going to kind of like lose its what was I going to say? It kind of loses like the character's starting to lose control of the ball at 140 to 180. So what we'll do, we'll just have a look at that hand. It looks crap, but that's fine. But what I can do is add like even tinier nuanced animations. So this one is going there to there. Can just add a little subtle thing. And now you can see the little shaking there? And I can do the same with this. A little bit of a shake. A little bit more of a shake there. Do that there. These are very subtle animations, by the way, like very subtle. And thank you, Booyah. Yeah, I'd like to think that I've got this as well. Like I've also battled, a lot of demons, a lot of depression since the launch of the game, and even before the launch of the game. Some really nasty stuff happened in my life, and it really knocked me off track with life in general, just everything. I lost passion for the game. I lost passion for everything. I lost passion for life. I gave up. I just didn't care about anything. I was a zombie. And I almost it's a touchy subject, but I did almost like give up, like completely give up on everything. I'm not going to elaborate on that. I think you know what I mean. Thankfully I didn't, because life is worth living and enjoying, and I chose to do that rather than to give up. So yeah, I was battling a lot going forward from the events that happened. They were quite traumatic, and it really threw things into a bit of a spin. So that was why I was in a big hiatus with the game. I won't go into detail as to what happened, but it's pretty shit. I never ever want to experience it again, and I hope that it doesn't happen to other people, but I know it does, and it sucks. But I just hope that those people who go through those kind of experiences get out of it, and they move onward and upwards and realize that life is worth living and enjoying. So yeah. Oh man, yeah, I'm so much happier. Yeah, Booyah, it was more than just a split. But as I said, I'm not going to get into it. It's yeah, there's a lot of real nasty stuff to do with third party, but that's probably about all I'll elaborate. So yeah, that's doing much better. You know, the fact that I can live stream, like I got put off live streaming. As I said, I lost my passion for everything, so I just didn't even want to live stream for a long time. Because I guess there was some kind of PTSD there for some reason. It's just, I guess, I didn't see psychologists or anything like that, but I would recommend that people do that. I'm just stubborn, so I chose, and because I'd experienced a lot of stuff in the past, I kind of figured that I can just deal with it on my own and not have to go to a psychologist or therapist. But I did talk to all my friends, and they helped me get through it. My family helped me get through it. If it wasn't for them, I would definitely go and speak to somebody. But my friends, my family, everyone who helped me through that shitty time in my life, they are amazing. And unfortunately, not a lot of people have that support network. So yeah, I'm glad that I did, and yeah, I'm very thankful that I have, you know, such awesome friends and family. Yeah, but yeah, anyway, enough about that. It's kind of morbid, but yeah, I'm in a much better place in my life. I found my focus again. More importantly, I found my passion. I lost that completely. As I said, I became like a zombie. I've definitely got my passion back again. I'm so glad I've got it back. Super happy about that. Anyway, let's play this animation. A little hand shaking, just a little bit. It's subtle. It's nothing too bad, nothing too crazy. Then at the end, it should do like a really crazy vibration, but I'll worry about this last section in a moment. All right, so next, now we're gonna do this hand. This is just like, yeah, as I said, this is where it gets really tedious. Actually, hang on. I don't want the hands to be moving with one another. They kind of have to move out at the same time as one another. So from here to here, that actually needs to move in. So that to that, good. That's moving in, and then that moves out. I think, yeah, that moves out, and this moves in. So now you can see that the hands are kind of in sync with one another. I can put them slightly out of sync at different keyframes, but ultimately you'll see it all come together anyway. I hope. Don't know why, but I'm hungry. I've already had dinner. Had like a whole bunch of little shish kebabs. So that were quite yummy. Honey and soy, lemon and garlic, sauteed chicken, super yummy. Barbecue beef flavored. Love myself some kebabs, some shish kebabs. Well, they were skewers actually, they weren't kebabs, sorry. And these animations it's a little bit out of timing there. I'm not entirely happy with that. Yeah, so this one needs to come in. This is where I get like pedantic about it. Like it has to be like, oh, it has to be timed correctly, and it's kind of stupid, but oh. This one, wait, what's going on here? That just keeps floating outwards on this one. What's going on with that? Right. Compared to that. That goes out. That goes out as well. Ah, you know what? That needs to go in a little bit. So now, that still doesn't really work. Maybe it needs to go out a little bit. Or a fair bit, actually. So, yeah, now it's got like a bit more shake to it. I have been, I've also been wanting to live stream some just general gaming stuff. I just don't know how I'm gonna go about that. And it's not a major priority anyway. The priority is the game, getting this update out. It'll make the end of my year so much better. Because I won't be stressed out about, you know, the biggest time of the year of people buying games and they buy this broken mess, which is what's been happening for a long time. And I'll be honest, the game is not making any sales. It hasn't been making sales for a while. That's just it's how things go sometimes, you know, you gotta kind of accept it. But thankfully I have a day job which helps bring in the income. Takes up my time and my energy, but that's life, you know. You gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta, you know, as you said, keep on trucking. You can't just kind of sit and hope for the best. You have to make things happen. Alright, so that's, and that's, let's make sure it's still in the right spot. So that's coming out. I know without a doubt this game will do really well later, but I gotta say I am so looking forward to the merchandise from Metalheads. Hell yeah, man! I think the merchandise will be amazing. Like, if Metalheads takes off, you know, when I went to PAX Australia 2019, I actually had people who did merchandising. And they actually contacted me, and they're like, "Hey, man, I could do some like 3D printed Metalheads and that kind of thing." And like that was something I wanted to do prior to going to PAX. I wanted to have like a little 3D printed Metalhead just sitting on the stand. But you know, it ended up costing a lot of money, so I was like, yeah, I'll just leave that for the time being. But yeah, I would love to do some plushies and stuff, some obviously t-shirts, you know, 3D printed metalheads that you can use for various reasons. Basically toys, like a pop vinyl metalhead. But the thing that I spoke to people about, that like this particular person at PAX, or one of the particular people at PAX about, was I wanted to set up a thing within the game where players could effectively take their custom-made metalhead, put it into a little posing thing, and effectively take a snapshot of the 3D model, the pose, and everything like that, and they could purchase a they do a purchase order for a custom posed version of their custom made metalhead. I think that would be amazing. Look, that's a pipe dream. That's more of like, hey, I'd really love to do that. It's probably not going to happen, if I'm being honest with myself, but how cool would that be? I'd love that in a game. Like, if I was a fan of a game, like a big game, it's like, imagine if Fall Guys did that. People would love that shit. And they would, like, the developers and the publisher would make so much money from it as well. Like, you know, from a business point of view. God forbid I talk about money. But yeah, like, hey, look, I want money from the game. Hell yeah. I want a living from this game. I'm not doing this just for the passion. Like, I'm obviously doing it so I can survive. But thankfully I'm passionate about it as well. So I love what I'm doing. So I love my craft. But yeah, like, how good would it be, like, if they did that? What's going on here? Hang on. I'm talking and trying to animate at the same time. Obviously not really a good skill of mine. So that's going outwards. Look, I'll just animate this how I think it should be, and then I'll fix it up later. If anything's like out of place, then I can just kind of fine tune it, I guess. Oh man, that's probably out of place. Whatever that happened there. That back arm is not really going to be noticed that much, so I'm not too concerned about it. Although I do kind of want to... yeah, it's like it's stretching really far. I don't like that. Maybe I should drop the shoulder on that arm or something. I'm not too sure. Do that, then it goes outwards. Even further. So I want the top hand and the bottom hand to close in at the same time and to expand at the same time. I don't want it to kind of like move around. I don't think it's going to matter that much, so I'm getting caught up on these silly details. All right. Let's hurry this along a little bit. Oops. You can kind of see that this arm is popping a little bit. It's not going to be noticeable though, once again, so I'm not going to be too concerned about that. There's also, I'm not going to touch on it in this live stream, but there is the issue of if the character's facing downwards, for example, or upwards, for example, like where are their legs going to be? What is a pose going to be slightly different? So I have to look at things like that, or if they're facing the opposite direction, you know, that kind of thing. So I have to like flip the animations and stuff like that. So there's lots of little things that I have to consider gameplay wise with animation, just to make sure it all sort of ties in together properly and functions correctly. Print on demand is becoming bigger and bigger, and I can tell you for a fact that custom shaped and printed metalhead pillows is possible right now, but custom pop vinyl might be a little ways out. Yeah, 100%. Like if I was doing, I probably wouldn't go with like the pop vinyl group. I'd probably set up like I'd probably pay people, you know, provided that the game was doing well. I'd probably pay people to actually do the 3D prints or to set up the 3D prints en masse if the game got to that point. I keep rotating these things. And yeah, basically have a bunch of people who are just handling online orders of 3D prints, and that's it. That'd be their job. That's how I'd probably do it. And maybe they would do some customer support at the same time, of course, and logistics. But yeah, like, I don't know. We'll see what the future holds. I think I've got to think small for the time being. Like, it is nice to think about that stuff though, because there's always that potential that it can happen. You know, it's definitely good to sort of dream. You know, that's what kind of started this game in the first place. Is I was dreaming big. Got to dream big. Set the goals ridiculously high. No, don't do that. You set the goals ridiculously high, it can be a little bit unrealistic. But so long as it's within reason, I think it's perfectly fine to think of those things. You know, they're feasible things. Oh, hang on, I've gone a little bit too far with the animation. Actually, that's fine. I've got to do this anyway. So now we're at the point, so I'm gonna play this. Obviously the character's growing this energy ball, and now you can kind of see it coming together. Like he's like struggling to like generate the power in this ball. Like it's kind of like this magnetic force is like pushing his hands away of it, like pulling it back in. He's trying to counteract it. Then it'll get to a point where it's like here and it's like really becoming unstable. So this is where the hands are like, they've got to make a lot of movement. Like a lot of movement. This is a bit of a pain though, because the arm is stretching too far. So I've got to kind of, hang on. I think from here, so I'll lock this in place. That way it doesn't move prior. Oops. That's it, the journey, that it makes it all worth it. But once you reach the top, it's all over and you have something else. Yeah, well, I mean, sort of, yeah, I guess. I think it's good to not think of it too much as a linear process. It's just an ongoing journey. It just keeps on going and going and going. If you have an end goal, the thing is, it's like the way dopamine works, right? Like you have an end goal, you set the end goal. The problem is you reach the end goal, and then what happens? You have the dopamine drop off after that. Like you're like, yes, I finally did it. Now what? And people can lose motivation because they reached a target, and it's a reason for a lot of developers like releasing their games into early access and then just disappearing. It's like, yes, I finally got my game into early access, it's making money, and now I don't care because I worked my ass off to get to that point, and it's making money, so I don't need to do any more work. And it's not even so much that, hey, it's a bad mindset to have, it's just that's how our bodies work, our brains work, you know. So it's good to look ahead of the goal. Like for the project, but also for obviously the future of the company as well. So typing on mobile for YouTube is a little weird. 1 sec, I'll pull you up on the PC. 1 sec. That's cool, dude. I'm not in any hurry, that's for sure. I'm streaming. I don't care how long. I'm just doing work, and just happen to be live streaming it as well. And if anyone wants to drop by and check it out, they can. Oh boy, that's a bit of a crazy animation. Yeah, 100%. That is too much of a movement for what I'm after, so I can probably just move that back to where it was. Do that. Do that. That. Do that. And then snaps back out. And at this point, I've kind of like broken, see how the elbow kind of like snaps like that? We're not going to see that, but at the same time, I don't like it. It's not good animation practice. We'll leave it for the time being though. I've already gone over time for what I wanted to do for this animation, which kind of sucks. It's fine though. It's fine. Everything's fine. Yeah, so I gotta do this arm now. So this one's gotta be a little bit unstable as well. So that's gonna push in. I'll do that, and then go like that. And the other thing is with this, if I want to change the rotation specifically, you can see down here, we've got location, 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 X, Y, Z, right? So that, once again, is controlling this movement. But as far as the rotation, which is like W quaternion, and these are this movement, and this movement, and this movement, and the twisting of the arm, for example. So I need to, I don't actually have to do anything with this. Like the character's hand is slowly, I guess, like tilting outwards. So I could probably bring the hand up like that. And I could also do that with the fingers too. So I'm just gonna lock the rotation in. And over time, you'll notice that hand is also kind of, it's transitioning between that and effectively this, right? While also moving at the same time. So you don't have to put these like nuanced rotations in here, otherwise it'll look really just crazy. Probably a little bit too crazy, you know. Normally what I do with these kind of animations, like if it's somebody charging up, I would do small vibrations first, and then it just builds up and becomes larger. But I can do that later. We don't have to do that right now. Don't want to bore anyone who's watching this later on, because this will be a VOD. Obviously, it'll be on YouTube for people to look at later if they want to. And I don't expect anyone to really watch it yet. People will probably come back to this, like other developers in particular, because I do want to encourage and inspire other developers to you know, give it a shot. Like, you know, get into the game dev, make your own game. You know, I think that'll be really cool if I can inspire other people to do it. Oops, I did not want to do that. Yeah, I think that'll be a really, really cool thing. And especially if like later on, you know, when I've made Metalheads and I'm doing other stuff, and then some big hit game comes out, and then, you know, they're in an interview or something and somebody's like, and this sounds really egotistical, possibly a little bit narcissistic, but like for them to then say, oh yeah, like there's this game called Metalheads, and you all know it, and blah blah blah, and you know that really inspired me to develop it to these live streams. I'd love to hear something like that. I think that'd be a massive compliment. Like knowing that I helped encourage somebody chase their dream as a game developer. I think that'd be amazing. That'd be such a cool feeling. Alright, so this hand's gonna be like crazy, and then this one's gonna be like, wow, what the heck am I doing? Yeah, I'm losing my mind now. Oops, where's that one going? That's gotta go, so that's going out, and then it's gotta go back in. So I'm gonna make it like come back over here. Like, you gotta imagine this is like unstable at this point, so the ball is just getting way out of control in this character's hands, and they're just struggling to really control it. If they release it in this last little section, though, the ball's like gonna be like super powered. Sorry, not the ball. The beam is gonna be super powered. Let's have a look at the animation. Really struggling now. Now, another thing is, with these animations, they are a little bit too spaced apart. So what I can do, like the vibration of these is like wah wah wah. It should be more rapid. So what I can do, select the animations, shrink them down. I could do this a different way, but this is a good way to start. There we go. So now they're basically at a halfway. Oh, hang on. If I go that scale down to 0.5. What the heck did I just do? Scale 0.5. Ah, there we go. I got an issue with my keyboard where it's like 0.5. That doesn't make sense. That's not meant to happen. What's going on there? Anyway, that's fine. So now these movements are gonna be like, this is gonna be nuts. Now I could just copy these and just kind of paste them there. Maybe just shuffle them around a little bit. Move that there, move that there, move that one there, just to add a little bit of variation to it. Don't necessarily need these things here though. Oh yeah, I do, bugger it. I'll leave it there. So yeah, we check out the animation, presuming that we're going to be playing it at this speed. And then bam, and then they'd fire after that, or it'd explode in their hands. So that's just the hands, guys. Like, this is why animation takes a long time, but I really enjoy it. It's good, like, because when I'm done with this, which I'll probably do it tomorrow's stream. I think I'm going to do a stream tomorrow after the gym. In tomorrow's stream, I think I'll do the rest of the process of like importing it to Unreal Engine 4, adjusting all the speeds there. Otherwise, I will be here until like midnight tonight. I don't intend to do that. I've worked all day. I'm tired. So another thing we need to do is obviously add a little bit of floatiness to the rest of the body, because we can see the legs are like moving and the body's moving and all that kind of stuff. I need to do stuff with the legs. I need to do stuff with the head. So maybe the character's like tilting their head a little bit, you know, really kind of like leaning into it. And so over time it's like, and then maybe a little bit more as the head's being pulled back a bit. So there, and then it gets pulled back a bit. And then I could start to like maybe shake the head a little bit as well. Sounds a bit sus, doesn't it? And also like add a little bit of panicking, like he's maybe like looking, not looking across, but like, I don't know. That's a little bit too much. I could maybe tilt it there. So the head's moving. It's like, oh my god, what the heck? And then the head kind of pulls back a little bit, like, oh, this is ridiculous. This is way too much for me to handle. And head gets pulled back a bit. I could even, yeah, actually I will just like lift the head up like that, because when it fires the beam, the head could like kick down. Alright, so then I don't know. Ignore me. I'm losing my mind a little bit. I could probably even just rotate a little bit there. I could even just kind of rotate the head to the side, because this is kind of like it's charging up, so the character's gonna maybe twist the head a little bit to the side as well. I don't know. Maybe the head tilt thing is kind of crap. I won't have it looking to the side so much, actually. I'll just have it tilting up. I don't know if I like that or not, but I'll just keep it there for the time being. I can change it later. If I don't like it when I put it in the game, then I'll change it. Same with the leg thing. You know, I could just move the legs around a little bit. Just do that, and maybe with this one here, I could kind of set its location there and then have it suddenly kind of move. Oh, actually, that's really cool. If I kind of just like put this up like that, it's like almost like, oh god, I'm like leaning back into this energy beam. Like I've really got to fire this thing now. Create some weird stuff happening with like the body, as you can see, but you're not gonna see that. There's just like literally a giant glowing ball in front of that. And then, so I could sort of set the location of that, and then over time it's like that, but then this leg should like draw back a bit too. I think I could draw it back to there. Oh man, what the heck's going on here? Draw it back there. I need to move the knee, I think, as well. Some weird shit happening here. I don't like that. That looks tacky. I don't know if that's gonna work. I can maybe move it a little bit, just so there's some kind of movement. Yeah, I don't like this part here though. It sort of needs to draw back. Or maybe it just needs to like kick out. Like, oh god, this is getting a little bit too crazy now. He's really kicking his leg out. Don't know if I need the knee up. Oh yeah, I do. Well, guy doesn't have any hips. Now he kind of looks like he's struggling to like stay afloat or something. Wait, what the heck did I do then? Oh, that's why. So now I've got to kind of like put that in the same location. And I could like make the character's legs shake and the body shake as well, which I'll probably actually do. Generally, you leave the body shaking till last because I'd be setting keyframes on everything. That could mess with the progression of some of the animations. I do kind of want to maybe shake this part of the body. Make it sort of rock back and forward at first. I could make it like every 40 keyframes. So I can make it rock in like so, like he's leaning into it. So it leans into it and then out of it. Don't want to lean out of it too much because that's where the rest of the body kind of pops out. So it leans in, kind of expands with it. Maybe I could make him kind of move this way a bit. I don't know. Yeah, we'll try it. That way a bit, maybe. I don't know. It's gonna probably break things. This is the thing where, like, with this particular rig that I've got set up, it's not like great. So a good rig, I could change these things and I wouldn't have to adjust too much else. This, however, is a bit of a different story. Now I will have to, because the head's starting to rotate with that body as well, so I need to kind of rotate the head back to correct it. Yeah, and the head, like, at the end here, the body does, like, the whole body basically needs to be shuddering. Like, it's really struggling to hold this thing. Yeah, maybe I'll just do these 2 animations tonight. I don't know. I'm getting kind of tired. I mean, I don't mind working on the animations, but it's a long stream. We've been going for 2 hours and 30 minutes, and I've only done 2 animations. But that's the thing. Like, these things can take a while. So okay, what do we got so far? Let's have a look. It's good to review the animation once every now and then just to see where we're at. So it's too floaty right now, like this, and then suddenly it just like bursts into this vibration at the end. And that's because the whole body is not moving. Like, it is literally just like the legs are slowly moving into positions. So I could even like add these little tiny movements for the leg. Whoops, didn't want to do that. I want to add like a location, so maybe the leg kind of drops down and then moves. I don't know, that looks a bit silly actually. No, it's too sudden. Could even like kick it out and then have it float back in. Maybe kick it back in a bit. I don't know. It takes a bit of experimentation as well. Sometimes I did some weird animations when I was doing these yesterday, like for the power up. Not yesterday, day before. When I was doing the power up animation, I had this like really cool looking Karate Kid pose. It just looked kind of funny. See how there's not much movement in that leg? I don't like that. That has to change. So I could tuck it up a little bit behind. Or directly upwards, maybe. Maybe. Kick it over this way a bit. No, that's a bit too much. Yeah. Bugger it. It's only subtle, so, you know, whatever. I don't like that. That's too sudden. Whatever. I can change it later. And the whole body, I think, at this point needs to kind of rotate backwards too. Once again, I'll do the whole body at the end. I don't want to do it right now because that will mess with a lot of things. What else was I gonna do? This here. Let's have a look. Yeah, I think I can just add some little minute rotational information here. So we're going from here to in here. So we can go down like that. And in between, I can rotate back outwards. Same with this. Starts like wobbling, maybe. That. So rotates in, wobbles in, and then goes back out. Oops. Wobbles back in again, just a little bit. Just the more movement, the better it generally looks. It kind of looks like he's struggling to, and then I don't have to do them exactly every 10 frames or whatever. I can just mix it up. It just kind of looks, sometimes it looks alright. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you have to do it sort of in line or very close to other animations. So out, in a little bit, out. It's already going outwards anyway, I guess. Don't want to do it too far out. In. And yeah, as it goes along, the movements should be more pronounced, I guess. But it's already kind of pronounced right from the start, I guess. So it's probably a little bit too much animation there. So I'll just lean that in a bit so there's less. It's a little bit more subtle. Oops. And that can go. Ah, that's all good, Booyah. Don't worry, I'm still here. Hopefully everything's okay at work. Adding a little bit of a wobble there. And a lot more strain there. Alright, so I got a little bit of a body wobble happening. I reckon I could probably do more with his back leg here, I think. So at first it doesn't have to do much, but as it gets to about 90, I think I can probably maybe tuck it up a bit. It kind of tucks it up and then back out, back down maybe. All good, just gonna make a call in 10-15 minutes. That is no problems. Alright, so that's, yeah, that leg is not moving much. It's not a big deal, I guess. Doesn't need to move that much. Well, it's not very noticeable when it moves. So I could maybe just tuck it up a little bit. Just kick it up a little bit. Just to give some kind of illusion of like hovering and trying to balance in the air. It's not the greatest animation, that's for sure, but you know, whatever. I'm getting tired now. Nah, I don't want that. That looks terrible. Let's get rid of that. Just move it a little bit. Just a little bit. Problem is now it's not that noticeable at all. Noticeable at all, rather. When is a keyframe for that? Is it at 110? No, different times. See, I want these keyframes here to be kind of like offset from the other keyframes so they don't like move at the same time. For the legs, it just kind of makes it look like the character's trying to balance in midair. You don't want the legs to be moving at the same time, kind of like that there. It kind of looks a bit silly. So what I might do, I think, yeah, so they're very close here at the 90, the 90th frame. What happens there? It tucks up at that point, and then it extends. So I could almost, yeah, see, this is too early. I could even just like put that there. I mean, for this keyframe here at 140, it's not too big a deal, but I think I will actually change it. Because, yeah, they both got like a keyframe around that time. Just make it 150 or something. I worry about this last bit though, it may tuck up really quickly. I'll just leave it, whatever. Now I will get the whole body. And what I'll do is kind of hover it up and down. So only a very small amount though. I think I have to just, yeah, I just gotta do location. Location. The thing is, when I'm in the game, the ball will be moving sort of with the character as well, so it's not going to be that big of an issue. So the character's kind of floating. That's a little bit too extreme. I need this to be probably here. So the character goes up and they come down. The other thing I've got to look at is if the movement is like sudden and jerky. So yeah, it's moving up. That's moving down. And move it up again. Maybe back a little bit. Because it's becoming more unstable. I could even like just move this one forward a little bit. Just a little bit. And it kind of moves back. Maybe even a bit more for that one. Oh, what the heck? Yeah, and this is what I mean about animations like popping back. I can fix that later. That's fine. That's definitely fine. So now we're going to be going probably down again. So we're going to do that. You'll notice the leg's doing some weird little popping things. That's fine. Alright, so now we go into the legs. And you'll see we've got these two keyframes. This is where the problem is, because I keyframe the entire body at this point. The simple fix for this is, I think I wanted the leg. Yeah, I want that to go away. So now I don't get the popping. Is there any other popping that happened? I can't really see it. Oh, yeah, there is a little bit with the hands, I think. Maybe. What's going on there? No. Between that? Oh, no, that's just part of the shaking. That there looks a little bit extreme. I might just change that a bit. So that's probably one of the points. It is, yeah. So yeah, basically I look at these keyframe points and I look at the animations around that. And I just kind of decide what I want to do. If I need to fix anything up between that and that, and between that and this. I think that's like, it's a little bit extreme because we're going to go from like this, kicks out there, yeah. So that doesn't necessarily have to go so far away. I think I can just maybe just move it a little bit. Yeah. Same goes for this. There's probably a bit of a kick out there. Yeah, there is. Just a tiny bit. Yeah, I'll just move it a very subtle amount. And this is, once again, part of the whole nuanced animations and polishing everything up, so. The cool part is when I get this all done, like you guys are going to see how it all comes together. which I could even get that done tomorrow. Like, I intend to just, I'm developing the entire day tomorrow. Normally I would play games on a day off, but this update is super critical that I get it done. So no, not really much leisurely activity for me, other than like going to the gym and going for a walk and, you know, enjoying the beach and stuff. Like, there is a beach like literally a 5-minute walk away from here. It's this lovely place called Woolgoolga. And it's in a very beautiful part of this country. Nice little coastal town. Yeah, you can kind of see this arm here is getting moved quite a bit. And it's getting moved quite a bit at this point. Like, it just like launches out to the back. So I don't necessarily need it to do that. It just needs to launch a little bit. It's meant to be subtle. But the same thing happens with this, actually. If we have a look at this, it just does this weird thing here. I don't like that. Maybe I can just move that. Yeah, see how it kind of like does this little punch? Kind of just looks weird. Maybe I can just move it somewhere else. That's the wrong way. Oh, the joys of animation. And yeah, and you can see it does it there as well, because that's one of the other points where it got edited. So yeah, you just gotta go, like when you move the whole body, you gotta like fix these things up. There is a much better way of doing this, by the way. A much better way. I just haven't set up my character for that better way. I'm meant to set up what's called a root bone, which is basically a bone that you can click, and rather than selecting everything, that bone moves everything. But everything is tied. Everything's location is based off that one bone at the base of the character. So if I were to set keyframes on this bone, this root animation bone that was like right down here, it would only set the keys for that, not everything else. And so nothing else would actually change. It would move with that root bone. I don't know if that makes sense at all, but think of it like when you have a, you know, like those little, I wish my camera was working here. Let me see if I can turn it on. Let's see. Sony camera, are you working? Let's see. Oh, there we go. I'll just bring this up again. Turn my key light back on. Jesus Christ, that's bright. I did not want it to be that bright. Hang on. Oof. That is ridiculous. That is as low as that's gonna go for wrong color. Actually, bugger it. Right color. And then the joys of streaming, huh? Oh my god. That is so bright. Wow. I just need a little bit of light, not that much. Jesus. I want to like look washed out, you know. So there's that. Turn it down. There we go. Just enough light to light things up a bit. Helps the camera out a bit. What was I even talking about? It's like where is it? Like, imagine that this thing is like on a stick, right? You know how you get those little statues or whatever sitting on a stick. Think of the root bone as like the base of that stick. So whatever you move here, these things always remain in, like this here remains in the same relative position to the base or the root. So even if I move the root around and I keyframe the root from here to here, this won't change it because it's staying relative to the root. At the moment, I don't have the base. So like if I move this, like I'm keyframing this, not the root. And when you've got 20 different joints, like bones, and no root, they all move within its own like world space. They're not relative to anything. So it gets a little bit complicated. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know if that made any sense at all, by the way. Yeah. I won't go on too much about that. Anyway, but just know that the way I've set up the character is not ideal. And that's because, like, when I set up the character, I was learning. Like, I'm still learning every day. That's why I'm not getting a publisher for the game. Because I want to learn as much about game development as possible, including the annoying logistical side of things and everything else. So I don't want to. And once again, it's not like bagging on developers who do that, because some developers have to go with a publisher, or it's a great opportunity to go with a publisher, and it's perfectly fine. It's actually probably the smarter thing to do. If anything, I'm the idiot here for not going with a publisher. So it's just a personal preference. I'd rather just do it all myself, learn how to do it myself, so that in the future, I probably won't have to rely on a publisher, because I'll know how to do it all myself. Alright, so this is where it gets a little bit shaky. Whoops, what happened there? It's a little bit of weird. Yeah, see that? How the hyperextension of the elbow? I gotta fix that. That's all that's required to fix that. Maybe not. Look, I won't worry about it. You can't see the arm anyway. I gotta remember that there's a big energy ball here, so anyway. Normally I would wear my glasses, but they kind of look a bit weird. I got like yellow tinted gamer glasses. I'll show you guys. You guys have probably seen it before. You get too much of the reflection of the light there, so I'm not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Anyway, let's play this animation. See where it's at. Yeah, so now this is where it gets really annoying, because I've got to do more body movement. So for this here, I've really got to like rotate the entire character back. Rotate. Problem is that will mess with a lot of things, likely, because I'm setting the rotation on everything rather than just the root, and this is what I was talking about before. So when I set this, all these individual things are setting a keyframe for it, so they'll transition between, you know, this here and this here. Whereas if I just do it on the root, I don't have to touch any of this. It's just happening on the root bone. But I'm an idiot and I didn't do it because I read one place, read something somewhere on the Unreal Engine forums, not have a root bone. Well, maybe I shouldn't have listened to that person. I shouldn't have read and agreed with that. Actually, it was a tutorial on YouTube saying not to put a root bone because it messes with things. Fool. I didn't know any better. Next time I like do a full character redo, unfortunately I have to redo all the animations as well. I'm definitely putting a root bone for the character. Alright, so now, from 140 we need to start shaking things up a little bit. So the character's gonna start, you know, going a little bit crazy. Good thing is, when I set the location on these bits, it's setting them, it's only adjusting their existing location. It's not going to change too much. Oh shit. Oh wait, can I swear on stream? So that's going to go up and there. I'll do that on the same point there. Make it there. Make this one go the opposite. And then as you can see, it kind of like it's very pronounced at the moment. It's probably not ideal. Probably even start shaking the character from here. That's a little bit too much, actually. That's a bit ridiculous, actually. It's too much. It's meant to be subtle. Animations are meant to be subtle. So much focus on my face right now. So much concentration while I did this incredibly strenuous and tedious task of making the character shake. At least you got a little bit of background music. I don't know if you guys can hear it. How is the audio volume if you're still there, Booyah? Or anyone else? Is it alright? I just realized I'm probably like shaking the character off to the side as well. It's probably not a good idea. So what I can do is lock it to just this axis. So, because if I move the character now, it'll move off to the side. But I can choose to just lock it to that one, like these two, or that plane. I get rid of the X, which is this. Or I could, you know, make it move only on that plane, or the same goes for... Oops. Same goes for that. Only move it like that. Anyway. Yeah, see, there are a lot more subtle little vibrations, and it looks way better. Doesn't have to be too crazy. It just has to represent a little bit of instability as he's trying to like struggle with this damn ball of energy. I can do some like large movements in here as well, but I don't know if that's really going to work for what I'm after. I also don't want to move it too far away from this. Not that it matters too much, but it's a good reference point as to where the character kind of like started at. Alright, let's play this out. It's not really good, is it? Yeah, see how it kind of like, it vibrated a little bit up and down, but then it just kind of just didn't do anything. So this movement, this frame here, I think just needs to go down. Oh, geez, that's a little bit, probably a bit too much now. Yeah, it's that one there. Just maybe there. Let's see. Okay, so that should be going like a different direction. That goes that way, then it goes down to the left, and it goes sort of down to the right and then back up to the left. So this one can kind of go back a bit more, make that a little bit more pronounced, and up a bit. So this last bit, it's like really, really shaky. It's not the greatest animation in the world, that's for sure. And I should also make the head. See, I was just kind of floating back. It looks a little bit weird. So I can kind of like shake the head around a little bit. Why is there so many keyframes for this dude's head? That is not normal. That's the location, probably. Oh yeah, actually, I'll show you something. So that was because I probably keyframed all of the locations, which doesn't matter because this only has rotations on it anyway. So I'm actually gonna delete this stuff. Oh, go away. Sure. What am I doing? I can just select it like this. Fool. Sure. Alright, so yeah, there's only rotational data here, so I just need to... Let's add a little bit of a head wobble. Maybe not that, maybe some side to side, it just shows a little bit. That. Yeah, this is really tedious stuff. And it's hard because sometimes you'll well, at least I will. Sometimes I'll just kind of give up. I'll just be like, this animation looks terrible. This is crap. Just whatever I'm working on, I'll just be like, this is not good. I'm not getting anywhere with it. That's when you know you got to take a break. So yeah, his head's like shaking at that point. So for the rest of it, it's like, yeah, I'm good. I've got this, and oh god, this is getting. And then bam, the head kind of like kicks back a little bit, and probably I could probably even delete this here. Yeah, I reckon I'll delete that. It's just a little bit too sudden. I think for the rotation. Even that could probably go. And I could probably even just like lift the head back. And over time it's like lifting the head up and then nah, I don't even know if that works actually. Whatever. Maybe I can just rotate it forward a bit. I don't know. A little bit of experimentation. Yeah, I think that works better. Still not great, but it's not horrible either. The legs don't have to shake too much because, you know, they're kind of just floating. You got to think that the legs are dangling. The character's in midair. The elbow maybe could be something that can be adjusted as well. Like it's obviously moving up and down with the body. But the thing is, what I can do is actually, because the elbow, if it's floating, you know, it's not going to move like up and down with the body at the same time. It's probably going to be slightly delayed or whatever. Alright, Booyah. You have a good night too. And hope to see you in the next stream. I plan on streaming tomorrow. I just don't know what time, but I will try and give people a heads up. So thank you, good sir or ma'am. I don't know who Booyah is. I don't know if you're male, female, whatever. But thank you for joining. Thank you for having a chat with me. And yeah, hope to see you in future streams and maybe even join in on the gaming action when I finally do some public tests. So have a good night. Enjoy your work. See you next time. Alright, what was I about to do? There's some, oh yeah, the elbow thing. Right, so if I get rid of this, maybe. You'll keep it a mystery? Alright, no worries, Booyah. You can be like the metalhead. The metalhead is still a mystery. People can assume whatever it is they want it to be. Yeah, now the elbow stays in place. It just kind of floats a little bit. The arm moves enough on its own. I mean, I could like, you know, flap the elbow up and down if I wanted to. Really just like, oh god, he's trying to hang on to it. So that just goes up in the air. Yeah, I think it's not too bad. I think it's passable for the time being, and then later on I can tidy it up. Just wondering what else I can do right now though, while I'm doing the stream. I mean, I could do a little bit more with the legs. I could even just like take a couple of these little things out here and just see what happens. Yeah, that actually kind of works. It kind of like shakes the leg a little bit. Yeah, that actually, see? Experimentation goes a long way. Oh, what the heck happened there? Leg just kind of kicks out. I don't like that. That looks stupid. Kind of goes, and then boop. Oh, see, that needs to go here. That's gonna go there. So it goes up. See, that's a little bit too wild. It just looks a bit silly. I just don't. Maybe it's just too much movement. Yeah, I think maybe that's just a little bit too extreme. Oh, fine. Yeah, that looks way better. Like, significantly better. Just having the legs kind of like flap around a little bit makes a big difference. Makes them feel less floaty. Yeah, cool. Alright. Well, that can be that animation done. I better save this, by the way. The next thing will be... I think we're going to have to do another stream tomorrow. Maybe that will be the best thing to do so I don't burn out. Like, I gotta rest today. I've been literally... I worked this morning on the game, like just getting stuff set up before going to my day job. I worked... wasn't a big shift today. It was like 5 hours, so it's not that bad. I worked 11 till 3. Actually, 11 till 4 today, sorry. I got asked to stay later. Then I got home and had to prepare for the stream, make sure everything was working correctly, make sure I have some food as well. I hadn't had lunch until like 4 o'clock, which sucks. 4:30 even. And then I have dinner, and then yeah, so basically I've been working the whole day since about 8 o'clock or 8:30 or something. So yeah, pretty big run. That's like 12 something hours. Let's just say I've been working for 12 or 11 and a half hours just to be safe. Normally I'll work longer than that. I'll get up, do my morning routine, have a shower, all that kind of stuff. Get ready to go to my day job. Then I will, you know, obviously go and do work at the day job, then I'll get home, have food, and work on the game, or I'll go to the gym and then come home and work on the game all night. I gotta be careful not to get into the routine of working, you know, more than 12 hours a day. I did that for too long. It was not good for me. It's not healthy. You can do it every now and then, that's fine, but it's just not a good thing to do. So yeah, because you burn out. Well, I burnt out anyway. So yeah, I think I'll just leave it there, and then I will do another stream tomorrow, and maybe even the next day. I think I'm actually working. I've got like one day off, then I work Friday all day, so 9:30 or 9 to 5 or something like that, 9 to 5:30, and then work all weekend. Yeah, I don't know, just lots of work. But in between, I just got to make sure I do as much game development as possible, while also getting as much rest as possible, eat properly, and you know, keep up the fitness. So going to the gym. Thankfully, there's a gym that's only like literally 3 minutes walk from where I live, so I can literally just walk down 2 blocks and I'm at the gym. It's fantastic. It's not the biggest gym, but it's better than having to drive for 10-15 minutes to get to the gym and like after work and not even be bothered to do so. So it's really good. It's quite convenient where I live right now. There's lots of convenient sort of things, like the beach if I want to go for a walk. It's a lovely area. You know, it's a beautiful place actually. I'll show you a photo of the beach, guys. You may have seen it on the whatchamacallit, the words, the news post on Steam page, on the Steam page rather. God, I can't talk properly. But this is, I'll show you this right now. You know, this is where I live. It's freaking amazing. This is a beach I walk along most days. Absolutely beautiful. And there's like, you know, this, you know, you can walk all the way up here. And there's like this really cool walkway that goes around the headland. There's like the whole headland over there as well. I like live over this way somewhere, but yeah, there's a headland. There's like a little parking spot up the top. You can get some really nice photos. You get to see a lot of ocean. You'll see whales swimming past, maybe a few dolphins, depending on the time of the year as well. But I've seen them the last couple of times I've walked. And then, yeah, there's like another beach over here. It's this massive big beach, and there's like no buildings or anything. It feels like you're on a completely secluded island. It's freaking amazing. Unless you look towards a headland, of course. But yeah, it's just a really, really beautiful area. And yeah, I'm quite enjoying living here, but it's only temporary until my family's house is built, and then I'm hoping the game will do quite good before then, so I can kind of just move out into my own place and have my independence again. Yeah, that's anyway, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm tired. Bad. Look at these bags. Terrible. Anyway, guys, this is where we're at. I'll show you my other charge up or charge start animation that I did yesterday. It's very similar to this one, obviously, but I called it the preparation. So that's the difference. You know, I'm actually thinking this one that we did tonight is kind of better. What do you guys reckon? Let me know. Not too sure. So charge start, charge up. I can't remember which one it is. Charge start. Yeah, I think this one's actually better. Maybe I just invested more time in it. Maybe I could drop that front leg a bit. That I kind of like the look of. So I could kind of like drop that down. Nah, I won't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. Alright guys, Well, thank you for, not many people watched it live, and that doesn't bother me at all. But thank you if you did watch it live, if you dropped in just to say hello, if you, like, Booyah came in and said a few words. But yeah, if you're watching, thank you for joining. If you are watching now after this live stream, thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. It does actually have an effect on the visibility of videos, as you probably know on YouTube. And if you haven't already, go onto the Metalhead's Steam page, wishlist the game. And that way you get sort of news updates and that kind of stuff. If you haven't already purchased the game, if you're kind of sitting on the fence, I understand. But I would definitely, obviously, appreciate if you bought the game and support it financially, because that always helps. But you don't have to, don't worry. Wish listing is a big thing. Buying it's a big thing. Playing the demo even is a big thing. But more importantly, just tell people about it. Get the word out there. Join the Metalheads Discord community. Just do things like that, and that all helps out in the long run, and just showing your support in various ways. But yeah, thanks, and I'll end the stream here. Rock on, guys. I'll do the usual, haven't done it in a while, the usual 3, 2, 1 finish scream. I don't think I've even got the energy. By the way, speaking of screams, I know I'm going on a tangent again. I can barely speak properly right now. So when I got COVID, it really messed with my vocals. Like I couldn't talk properly. For a while, I kept coughing all the time, so that messed up with my throat. I actually got sick just after COVID as well. Like a flu or something, like some kind of throat infection. I don't know what the hell it was, but it was really crap. And then it ended up in an earache and all sorts of stuff. So that messed with my vocals as well. I could barely talk properly, let alone scream or sing. My singing was awful, so I just didn't sing. Then I got sick again not too long after that with pneumonia. That was crap. Well, what I presume is pneumonia. Like my dad got it, and then obviously I got sick once he returned from another city after being away for a week, or a couple of days. So they got back, and yeah, suddenly I got sick. My throat, I lost my speech completely. I lost my speech. And yeah, I just felt crap. It just felt really, really bad. And then it's just taken ages for me to get my voice back to a semi-normal tone, I guess. It's like very raspy in like sometimes. Feels very strained at times as well. If I'm singing, there's just certain notes I just can't hit that I'd normally be able to blitz, like no problems, like very easily. If I'm screaming, it's the same thing. It's like normally when I scream, it's just kind of clean. Like obviously it's a scream, so it's not clean, but it sounds nice normally. Now it's like got these little really shitty, gravelly bits in it, and it just doesn't sound right. It just sounds awful. So yeah, my voice isn't quite what it was, which really sucks, because I love screaming and I love singing, and I do it every day when I go in the car and I'm driving to work. It's like a 20-minute drive from here, so I've got plenty of time to sing and scream, and it's just driving on a highway, so I don't have to worry too much about traffic. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, as for the rest of what's going on, like with updates for the game and stuff like that, I'll probably talk about that in tomorrow's stream. I'm too tired right now. So anyway, I'll do the 3, 2, 1 thingo, and I'll end the stream. So thank you all for joining. Thank you for watching later on, whenever you watch it, and rock on. Man. 3, 2, 1,